This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. The Cardinals fresh off their 10th consecutive series win. Welcome the Reds to town. A weekend series. Game number 1, the Cincinnati Reds and the St. Louis Cardinals. Jim Hayes is here. That's Brad Thompson. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. The Cardinals wrap up the month of August tonight, and what a month this has been.
Well, it really has been. We've been waiting for the St. Louis Cardinals to click on all cylinders for a while. Well, I think we're there. You see what the offense has been able to do here recently, putting up tons of runs. The starting pitching, yeah, that's been pretty darn good, too. You look at the 2.71 ERA, second in the NL. And everybody in that rotation is throwing the ball great, and then they pass it over to the bullpen, and those guys are getting the job done as well. 2.58 ERA. We know the struggles that the bullpen had early on. Those struggles are gone. Best bullpen in the NL in the month. It's been a beautiful thing.
How about the weekend series? You've got Homer Bailey, Austin Gomber tonight, Luis Castillo, Daniel Ponce de Leon tomorrow, Anthony DeSclafani on Sunday, Luke Weaver back in the Cardinals rotation. Austin Gomber goes tonight. He dominated Cincinnati earlier this year. How about tonight? We're about to find out. MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. And by Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. This weekend, crowds of over 40,000 expected here at Busch Stadium. The Cincinnati Reds are here. A weekend set and a showdown in the Central. Baseball coming up. Win. It's starting tonight with the first of 3, the weekend series against the Cincinnati Reds. Along with Brad Thompson, Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin. 84 degrees. 10 straight series wins. Some impressive numbers here for the Cardinals. 7 of the opponents above 500. And the Cardinals 24-8 in this stretch. And in the wild card, it's St. Louis and Milwaukee, Colorado, Dodgers, Philly on the outside looking in. And things have changed from the last time we did a game as Mike Schilt has really gotten this thing going.
Yeah, he certainly has. And you mentioned it, and as soon as we sat down, the energy in this ballpark, everybody is feeling it. This club is playing great baseball in all aspects, and Mike Schilt has done a fantastic job of just putting everybody in a position to succeed.
Billy Hamilton at the top of the lineup for the Reds, then Peraza and Votto. It's a good lineup. Suarez, Jeanette, Irvin, Schebler, Barnhart, and the pitcher batting ninth, that's Homer Bailey. Austin Gomber, first career start was back on July 24th against the Reds. And there's a strike. He took a no-hitter into the 7th inning before allowing 2 hits. Votto a base hit, then Suarez a home run. Cardinals eventually won it 4-2 in 11. 1 ball and 1 strike. And the Hyundai pitch arsenal.
Well, you see Austin Gomber throws his fastball very well to both sides of the plate. That big curveball you just saw, that slider, that thing he's developed this year, it is very effective, getting a lot of punch outs and getting in somebody's kitchen with it.
Just like that. Hamilton, the first out. Jammed him, and the slow roller hit to Paul DeYoung. The Cardinals defensively around the horn, presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. O'Neill, Bader, and Martinez in the outfield. Carpenter, DeYoung, Munoz, and Adams along the infield. And Yachty is behind the plate. Cardinals have already clinched this year's season series against Cincinnati, going 11-5. And this the only remaining games against the Reds. A ball to Jose Peraza.
Well, that 9-0 start in that season series helped out quite a bit. Now things have changed a little bit here recently. The Reds have taken the last 2 series, and you hope to get that going again. The Reds hadn't taken 2 series in a row from the St. Louis Cardinals since 2011, and it worked out quite well in 2011. Really, you just got to make sure it doesn't happen a 3rd time.
This team has a little bit of that feel of 2011. We had the chance to visit with Adam Wainwright here in the booth. That was a pleasure. A lot of people coming up to me around the city today and talking about it. They enjoyed hearing from Uncle Charlie, and he said there's a lot of the same feelings in the clubhouse from 11 to what's going on now here in 2018. There's a strike, 3-1 to Jose Peraza.
I think it's fair to say that there were some of the same emotions too from the fan base when you looked at it for a while in 2011. It was easy to look at the standings, look how many games back you are, and say, man, we're out of it. We don't have a chance. But you always have a chance. And unless you are mathematically eliminated, you've always got a chance. By the way, I mean, they did have a superstar in Albert Pujols in 2011. Had a lot of great players. But this team has a lot of great players as well, and they're well led by Mike Schilt.
3-2 the count on Peraza, batting .288. And a liner just over DeYoung and out to left center. Bader cuts it off with a backhand and holds him to a single. Nice play by Harrison Bader in center field. Little things like that the Cardinals have been doing this stretch run.
Well, you see this ball is scorched in the gap. Hits this one very well. Harrison Bader on his horse quickly. Takes a really good route to this. Makes the backhand and gets ready to throw quickly. Peraza's thinking too. And if he takes any other route to that ball, he probably has it. He also knows they do their scouting reports. As a hitter, you have to know your outfielder's arms. Harrison Bader has a +1.
Joey Votto now at the plate for the Cardinals, 7th straight year. They've won that season series against the Reds, as Brad was talking about, 14th time in the past 18 seasons. And strike 1 on Votto. Remember the last time that Gomber pitched, or at least made a start against Cincinnati in that debut, the fire alarm went off and he had a no-hitter going at the Great American Ballpark.
Had a nice 7-minute delay in between that one or so.
Here's the 0-1. It was just odd. You could see the lights going off, and Gomber had warmed up, was coming back into the dugout. Then they said go back out there, and by the time that he went out there, guys were doing this. Boy, it was odd to see that.
It really was. I'll tell you this, I have located the nearest fire alarm in case Homer Bailey's having a day. Not saying
you'll be out of the booth and pulling the lever, huh?
Not saying I would do it. I'm just saying I know where it is.
So you're saying maybe there's gamesmanship
no,
behind
I
that?
don't believe there was, but it sure did look funky, didn't it?
Oh boy, with a no-hitter going on.
Bad timing on that one, but either way, I mean, that was an incredible first start for Austin Gomber. He's been great. He showed it. He proved that he can pitch out of the bullpen. We know that he can start. I think it's great having a lefty in this rotation, give you a different look. And it's not just he's out there just eating up some innings. No, he's eating up quality innings. He's been a stud.
Joey Votto has been a Cardinal killer. 347 the average since 2014 against St. Louis. 15 home runs. He's driven in 48, but the Cardinals basically this year they just walk him. He's got 20 walks coming into this ball game tonight against St. Louis.
Well, it seems a little safer. You look at the numbers. You're only hitting .208. You're not giving him too many opportunities, and when you are in a spot where the walk isn't going to kill you, you might as well take your chances with whoever's next.
2-2 and a base hit into right field. And Peraza stops at second base. Runners at first and second with one down, and Suarez coming up. Since the Cardinals last saw Cincinnati, 10 consecutive series wins, 24-8. And they've gone from a .500 team to 75-59, the second best record right now in the National League.
I guess it's time to reintroduce yourself to the Reds, because they saw the other ball club, the one that hasn't gone on this tear, and it's just been so fun to watch this club gel, all come together. And once again, it's been in every facet. It hasn't been one part of this team is carrying it. No, this has been like a team run that they've been on.
So 1 out, runners at first and second. Suarez signed a 7-year extension for $66 million going back to spring training, and it looks like that may turn out to be a steal.
That's money well spent.
This guy's had a tremendous year. 30 home runs. He's driven in 95. He's got the high OPS against St. Louis. And you have to wonder if the Reds were in a position like the Cardinals, would we be talking about Suarez being the MVP of the National League?
Oh, I would say no doubt he would be in the conversation. You look at the numbers.
That's a base hit into right field. It drops in into shallow right. A run will score. Votto to third base, and it's 1-0 Cincinnati. He drives in his 96th. Came in 12th in the batting race, 3rd in home runs, 2nd in runs batted in. 3 consecutive singles for the Reds.
Gomber throws him a breaking ball here, just trying to make sure this thing gets down, wants it away, ends up leaking over the middle of the plate. He doesn't crush it, just keeps his hands in, does enough to get this thing going the other way, and ends up getting the Reds on the board. Another RBI for Eugenio Suarez.
Runners at the corners. Carpenter off the line, but even with the bag. Adams holding it first, and the batter is Scooter Gennett. And Gennett a base hit into left. 2-0 Cincinnati. 4 consecutive hits as Votto scores. 2-0 Reds. And Mike Maddox did not expect to see this in the first inning. Cardinals down by the score of 2-0. Reds trying to add more on.
Yeah, certainly didn't expect the way that Austin Gomber's been throwing the ball. The Reds have just been aggressive on anything up in the zone. You see Scooter Gennett right there, doesn't want to get to any of the off speed. He sees a heater up in the zone and puts a swing on it. It's interesting with Scooter Gennett. They told him when he was with the Brewers, they basically just told him, oh, you can't hit lefties. And he said, okay, I guess I'll never play against lefties. He's hitting lefties pretty darn well this year. Hit about 290 versus lefties. Hopefully Austin Gomber able to make some adjustments in this one. We've seen this a lot with the Cardinals this year, and the defense has stepped up quite a bit. You're 1 pitch away from just getting out of this.
Yeah, it seems like Gennett has found a home with the Reds. We'll see if they extend him this season as a starter. Gomber 2.51 ERA, 6 starts, and the club has won all 6 games. Last time out it was Sunday against Colorado. Cardinals jumped out to a 6-0 lead, and Gomber cruised in that ball game. And there's a strike to Phillip Urban, hitting .293. 4 home runs, and he's driven in 24. The Reds start play 22.5 games out and 20 games below the 500 mark. 0-1 pitch. Cardinals remove the interim tag from Mike Schilt, under 40 games, and Jim Riggleman is still the interim manager right now of Cincinnati, so they have a decision on what they want to do in that position.
I think Jim Riggleman overall has done a very good job over there. They're still 8 games under 500 since he took over, but the pitching has been an issue for them all year long. I think he's gotten a lot out of his position players, and they were in a big time hole when he jumped in. You talk about changing a culture. It seemed like he was able to do a little bit of that early on. Hopefully, knowing Riggy, he ends up getting a chance to keep that job. It would be great.
Do you know him well?
Yeah, well, yeah, he was obviously with the Cardinals quite a bit, and just a great baseball man. Always fun to talk to about the game, and you know how much he loves doing that, managing, being a part of it, being the leader. And it's tough. It's tough at this point of the season. You just mentioned how many games out the Reds are. You got guys that are out here. They realize that they're not playing for the postseason to motivate and to get them moving. It's a tough job for a manager right now.
Here's a 1-2 by Gomber. Taken high. One of the things that Jim Riggleman did right away was that he got his players out early for BP. They were working on cutoffs. There was ground balls being taken. There's a lot of different things when you think about the fundamentals of the game.
Well, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? I mean,
it
it's
does.
a lot of the things that are going on around here.
Strikeout for Gumber. 2 away, and it brings in Schebler. It's funny how that works, huh?
Well, yeah, and it seems so basic, and I think a lot of people just figure, all right, well, everybody's at the big leagues. You're at the top of the heap. You're the best out there in the world. Surely you've got all of the fundamentals, all the little things figured out, but that's not necessarily the case all the time. You have to continue to pound points home, and you have to let players know what is expected day in and day out, and then they'll get it. Like, it's going to take a little time, even if you're in the big leagues.
Schebler rips it into right, but Martinez is there. Boy, that baseball was scorched. Reds strand a pair, but they score a pair. Cardinals have had very good success against Homer Bailey. Does that continue tonight? Half inning in the books. Redbirds down by 2. Right now of the National League. Cardinals will face a guy that they've had pretty good success against in Homer Bailey. Signed a $100 million contract, but for whatever reason, with injuries, lesser teams, he has struggled since signing that deal. This is the lineup that he'll face: Carpenter, Molina, and Martinez. Then Adams, O'Neill, DeYoung, Bader, Munoz, and the pitcher, Austin Gumber. So the numbers are not pretty. Homer Bailey has had 18 starts. The Reds have lost 17 of those. He himself is 1-12.
Yeah, that is tough. Even the games where he's been throwing the ball well, he's got 6 quality starts and didn't win any of those. You see the arsenal there. Throws the fastball 56% of the time. He does like his split finger, and it's a good out pitch for him. But a problem for Homer Bailey this year is even when he gets to 2 strikes, he's had a very tough time finishing off hitters. And as you mentioned, there are a lot of St. Louis Cardinals that have had plenty of success against him, including Matt Carpenter, who's 19 for 42 against Homer.
It's a .452 average, 4 doubles. He's driven in 4. And the 0-1 pitch. Now, having said all that, Bailey's best starts have come against the Cardinals this year. 0-1, respectable ERA of 3.72. And the Reds have lost 3-2, 4-3, and 4-2 in 11 innings in the 3 Bailey starts. 0-2 pitch. And Carpenter lifts a high fly ball out to left field. Phillip Ervin under it and makes the catch. Brings in Yadier Molina. And Molina against Cincinnati. It started early on this year, but big numbers. 4 home runs. He's got 16 on the year, and 4 have been against Cincinnati. He's driven an 18 and a .365 average.
You tap a guy in the shin guards one time years ago, then he comes back to kill you.
How about that, huh?
My goodness.
Got in on him, and a ground ball that's hit slowly to third. The high throw to Votto for out number 2. Defense behind Homer Bailey. Around the horn, presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Irvin, Hamilton, Schebler in the outfield. Suarez, Peraza, Jeanette, and Votto on the infield. Tucker Barnhart is behind the plate. Jose Martinez, a .311 average. Quietly, and I don't think we've talked enough about this. I brought it up a couple of weeks ago. And he has hovered right around that .311 mark or 300 mark. Rarely gone below it, but this guy's got a chance to win the batting championship in the National League.
Isn't it incredible? I mean, it really is. When even nationally, when people are talking about the Cardinals, and there's a lot more talk about them currently with the run that they've gone on. They've won 10 series in a row. Very rarely do you hear somebody bring up Jose Martinez, and all he does is hit. That's all he's been doing all year.
Adding to it, base hit into center. Came in batting .311, league leader at .316, so a legitimate shot at the batting championship. Thrive inside the numbers. There's Martinez in that .311 average.
I guess 6 for 6 helps you out when you're leading the league. Christian Yelich has been incredible for the Brewers this year. Recently hit for the cycle a couple of days ago. But it's great to see Jose Martinez on that list. We all know the long ride it took for him to get here. So it's fun just to see him play the game the way he does, and fun is one of the things that you think of when you look at him. He loves playing this game.
You really do. Here's Adams. Still trying to get on track since he was reacquired by the Cardinals. Just feels right to see him in that Cardinal uniform.
That's what I told him today. I talked to him like, man, that looks good on you. He goes, got to be honest, feels good.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Adams had a remarkable game a few years ago against Cincinnati. 2 home runs hit in extra innings against the Reds. Do it yourself, big man. They want to elevate, and there's a tap foul. 1-2. Adams in that starting lineup with Wong out, Jerko out. So a chance to get on track with playing every day, seeing a pitcher 3 or 4 times. And a swing and a miss. So he strikes out. Bailey, his first strikeout of the night. Cardinals strand a runner, and it's 2-0. We check in with our good friend Jim Hayes.
Dan, lots of speculation about whether or not the Cardinals will be adding a player before tonight's deadline. It doesn't appear that that will happen, at least at this point. John Mozeliak told me there are always possibilities, but I would not anticipate anything at this time. He said the news on Jed and Colton is very positive. You look at the way this club is and how they're playing right now, we feel pretty good about where we're at. Dan, Mike Schilt echoing those sentiments. He told me, I like what we have, but we're going to have to wait and see, Dan.
Yeah, you wait and see. Things can happen during the game tonight that force the issue, if you will. And that's hit out of play by Tucker Barnhart. I would think if Wong and Jerko, Brad, were going to be on the DL for an extended period of time, that would force your hand.
Yeah, well, then you look outside the organization. You believe in the depth that you have here, but if you're able to insert somebody outside that could help you, you do it. But the Cardinals do have a very good thing going with Colton Wong has been great all year. Jed Jerko has been fantastic, and if you can get them back, then you're going to be good to go. It might not be worth the risk of trying to add somebody else at this point.
Here's a 3-1, and it's out of play. The other thing that the Cardinals have going right now is winning baseball, and you've been inside a clubhouse. You understand how when it all comes together, you don't want to disrupt it, and a player can come in, and sometimes that happens, and you don't want that to happen
Yeah,
here.
every once in a while it certainly can. And
into right, and that drops in for a base hit. And by the way, Austin Gomber staring back at our home plate umpire, who missed potentially 2 strikes in that at bat.
Yeah, he had some down in the zone that he wanted to get the call. To finish up the thought on the clubhouse environment, if you have a good enough group, and I believe that the Cardinals do, I don't believe that one individual can come in and stir the pot. I don't think somebody would mix it up. And I do believe that the Cardinals are smart enough when they are going to acquire somebody that they do all of the vetting of what the guy is like inside the clubhouse. But I'm with you. If Colton Wong and Jed Jerko are going to be coming back sometime soon, it's just not worth it.
There was the latest rankings with a lot of the metrics that measure just how good a player is defensively, and at the top of that list, Colton Wong in all of baseball. That was the 5th hit already for the Reds, and nobody out here in the 2nd inning. Bailey will be asked to sacrifice more than likely. There were reports that the Milwaukee Brewers had acquired Gio Gonzalez, and our friend Rick Horton, who is keeping an eye on all baseball, tells us that he is still in the Nats dugout. That Gonzalez is still in uniform in the Nats dugout.
Really?
So we'll have to wait and see. And Bailey gets the bunt down, and the sacrifice is good, advancing Barnhart to second.
Well, I'll tell you what, if they do in fact acquire Gio Gonzalez, if the Brewers get him, it's a huge pickup for them. We know the trades that they were able to make. They pick up Boustakis, they bring in Jonathan Scope. They needed a pitcher, and they needed somebody that they could hand the ball to. And Gio Gonzalez, while his year hasn't been stellar, you know what he's been in the past. That'd be a big move for the Brewers.
Need pitching.
Yep.
Top of the lineup, and Billy Hamilton. A lot of folks with reports out there that they would officially make that trade after the game, but we'll find out, I'm sure, on the post-game show.
Hug watch.
That's what you got to do. Fist bump, hug watch, then you know. That's when guys are getting called up or traded. That's when it's real. 1 out and a runner at second. 2-0 our score.
Gomber early on in this one, just missing up in the zone. Like to see him just stay back a little bit, make some adjustments at the bottom of the zone. Unfortunately, the couple of adjustments that he did make that hit the bottom of the strike zone weren't called strikes. But if you live down there, you'll end up getting the call, and you'll get the results that you want.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. Just a final thought on maybe a Josh Donaldson type player coming to St. Louis. Donaldson has been hurt, and if you're going to make that commitment, if they're going to want a nice piece back, you better hope you're getting a player that's close to 100%.
And how do you know? I mean, he's been out since May. That's the hard part. And what can you know from a short rehab stint?
In the air to center. Bader can't find it, so it'll be DeYoung who makes the catch. This time of night, very tough to pick up the baseball. Bader had no idea.
You know, Bader always gets a good jump on the ball. He takes good routes. He makes good reads. But you tell right off the bat he was lost on that one. Fortunately, Paul DeYoung was not.
Jose Peraza, a base hit to center and a run scored. Got to check out that sky. It's not easy to deal with this time of year in this portion of the game. You know, we're getting towards fall with the turn of the calendar after tonight, and you come to the ballpark, and by about 6:30 you're starting to see it get a little bit darker. By the start of the game, lights are on, cool air, a little bit darker outside. This is when it can be a fun time of year, or boy is it tough to come to the ballpark for some of these players.
When's that cool air start? Is that a thing coming soon?
It better be.
All right. All right. No, you're absolutely right, though. And as we mentioned off the top, the energy around the ballpark already feels like it. It feels like it's September. This is the playoff push because it's pretty much September, and this is the playoff push. This is a fun time right now for the St. Louis Cardinals.
A check swing, and he did go. 1 ball and 2 strikes. There's also something to be said about the young players that have won in the minor leagues. Guys like Gomber, Bader, O'Neill. You know, these are guys that are part of that Memphis run, and they've tasted a championship or winning down in the lower levels. But man, you come to the ballpark at this level, it's fun.
Had an opportunity to talk to Stubby Clapp last week, and that was one of the questions I had for him. Was how important we realized that the minor leagues are a feeder system to the big leagues. You want those guys prepared and ready to just help here whenever you need it. We've seen plenty of that this year. But I asked him how important it is to build that winning culture. He said it's huge. Like, guys, you want winning players. You want those guys to be able to show up, know how to close out games, know what it feels like to reign victorious. And it's big. Just talent alone doesn't always get it done.
Popped up right side. Adams with the catch. Coming up, one of those young players, Tyler O'Neill, due up first when we come back. Turn to Brad Thompson's Toyota keys to the game.
Well, keep rolling. We know that the Cardinals have been playing incredible baseball right now. They've won 10 series in a row. The pitching has been great. Starting and relieving, the offense has been awesome as well. But there's more work to be done. The race in the NL wild card is a tight one. The Cardinals still the division is within reach still. They've got an opportunity to keep going to work and make something special happen this year.
A ball to O'Neill here in the bottom of the second. 2-0 our score. RBI singles from Suarez and Jeanette. Two and 0.
I'm not sure I'd want to fall behind in the count to a guy like Tyler O'Neill. I have to come to him.
Here's a 2-0 pitch, and O'Neill hits it a mile high. That's Scooter Jeanette, puts it away for the out. One away. And the batter will be Paul DeYoung. DeYoung against Bailey, 5 for 11 with a home run. Matt Adams 8 for 12. Yadier Molina 404 average. Carpenter 452. I mean, there are a lot of guys that have had success against Homer Bailey.
Just got to feel like it's a matter of time. Something good is going to happen. That's been the feel around this ball club here recently. No matter what happens, if they find themselves in an early hole, which honestly hasn't happened too much, but even if it does, you feel like, all right, well, they're going to figure out a way to get back into this game. That wasn't the feeling a few months ago where you found yourself in a hole and were able to dig out of it. Right now, it just seems like a couple of hits and you're right back in.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. 2-1. And a breaking pitch pulled foul. A report that the Blue Jays have traded Josh Donaldson. It's according to Jeff Passan of Yahoo Sports. The destination not yet known.
Intrigue
is right.
I mean, by all the things that we heard around here, it wouldn't feel like it's going to be St. Louis.
Oh, I never put anything past Mo. There's a base hit into left off the glove. The third baseman Suarez, and then past Peraza into shallow left. BP brighter picture. Harrison Bader month by month, and here in August a 917 OPS, 16 runs scored, and in this month he has hit over 300. That is scored in E, an error on the third baseman Suarez. Tying run at the plate. Room on the right side of the infield. Bader at the plate. He homered last night. Looks at a breaking ball and a strike.
Dan, I know you've had an opportunity to call plenty of home runs in your career, but I got to be honest with you, I really enjoyed Adam Wainwright's homer call last night.
Pretty good with Harry at the plate.
That's pretty good. Harry getting it done.
Adam had two good calls.
He really did.
John Gant, you've got to be ready for the unexpected. And it helps when I'm saying call it.
Well, what's it going to hurt? If he doesn't hit a home run, who cares? If he does, you look magical.
I thought Carpenter had a third.
Yep.
Could have been 3 in a row. So if you missed it last night, after this pitch, we'll give you Adam Wainwright, a.k.a. Harry Carey, his call of that home run. That was with his birthday cake sitting in front of him. Here's an 0-2 pitch now to Bader. So here it is from last night.
He's incredible. Uh-oh. We got a Harry went deep. If he didn't hit that ball out, I was going downstairs. Not only Harrison Bader with a big home run to left field.
Pretty good.
It was pretty good. Harry went deep. And then he got big announcer voice afterwards.
He sure did. Yeah.
Got into it a little bit.
Here's a 1-2 pitch now to Harry Bader.
Have you talked to Harrison about that? If he's okay with maybe us calling him Harry?
Didn't go well, did
All right. Well, Harrison it is.
Is that what happened?
No, I didn't talk to him. I was asking if you have.
I have not.
I wasn't going
Well,
to.
if his
approach.
teammate does it and it's Adam Wainwright, it's fine.
No, it's totally fine.
If we do it,
I got a feeling Adam can call anybody down there whatever he wants.
That's
I'm
right.
sure he has a very respectable nickname for everybody. Us, on the other hand, we'll just go with Harrison for now until we get clearance.
that's your project tomorrow.
All right, I'll work on that.
I do like Harrison better than Harry, but Harry's kind of, you know, it just kind of rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. UFO, most likely.
Starting to have a little light rain here at the ballpark.
I was wrong. It wasn't a UFO. That's my fault.
Very, very light rain.
You know, home runs look more majestic when there's rain anyhow. I've always thought that.
Rick Horton was behind the microphone when Oscar Taveras connected on his first home run with the rain falling against San Francisco, and that majestic finish of a left-handed swing with the rain falling. It was a great moment. 2-2 is hit to short, and Bader beats it out at first base. Ball gets away. He doesn't notice, but backing up, the Gold Glover Barnhart. Boy, that's good hustle there by Tucker Barnhart.
It's a long way. You realize the rigors of the position when you're catching, how beat up you get, but little stuff like that, keeping a runner over at first base, that's big. All of a sudden a base hit doesn't score a run. See the throw just take Scooter Gennett off the bag a little bit, and he's unable to get too much on that throw.
Is it all right for me to be intrigued about Josh Donaldson?
Of course it is.
I'm still intrigued.
So
Bader's running, and a base hit off the bat of Munoz out to left. And runners at the corners. I'm just intrigued.
You know, you can be intrigued, no doubt. By the way, another showing of Mike Schilt and the offense being aggressive right there. Good piece of hitting by Jairo Munoz. No, why wouldn't there be intrigue involved around a guy like Donaldson, who's an MVP type candidate? You know what he can be. He could be a lottery ticket for you. He also could be hurt. You just never know. But as you mentioned earlier, it sounds like a trade is imminent. It has happened. Haven't said exactly who the other party is. And whoever it is, I'm sure they've done their due diligence, making sure that he is good to go and ready to play for you. And I hope for his sake, if, well, as long as he doesn't land somewhere that affects the Cardinals, that he is healthy, that he is going to be able to be back to the guy that he was before, because he was fun to watch.
Oh, man. That's out to center, and it's over the head of Hamilton into center. The game is tied. Austin Gomber will drive in two. Hamilton was kind of stuck just to see if that ball was coming at him, but it was over him.
Belt high heater right here. Austin Gomber puts a great swing on it, and he hits it on the screws. Billy Hamilton thinks this thing is in, and we know how fast he is. We know how good of jumps he gets on the baseball. Can't get one on this one. Huge pitchers helping themselves out. Austin Gomber gets himself right back in this ball game.
And Carpenter looks at a ball low. And all of a sudden the crowd back into it here at Busch Stadium. It's a big crowd on this Friday night. Two balls and no strikes. The 2-0. Inside corner. Gomber with his first extra base hit. And it drives in two to tie the game 2-2. Matt Carpenter at the plate. Sitting on 34 home runs. 2-2. Just a mist right now here at the ballpark. See Votto very deep behind the bag at first base, just walking around, knowing that a bullet may be coming his way. And a 2-2 pitch. Carpenter a drive down the right field line. It is number 35. 35. 4-2 Cardinals.
Dan, I think he's feeling better. You see the swing right here. Fastball inner half, belt high. Look at the balance. Look the way hands pull in, gets to it. He knows right off the bat that this thing is gone. Stays fair. Man, that's huge. What a monster year Matt Carpenter is having. Once again, you always feel like something good is going to happen around the ball club. Curtain call for Matt Carpenter. Won't be his last one this year.
And Yachty yanks it foul.
Now I will say that before that, one of us up here called it, and it was you. It was a good call. You told me, you pointed as if to say exit stage right.
I did.
And you set it up well. Said he was sitting on 34 home runs.
See, that's what I was trying to do. You say sitting on 34, and then boom, you go make it 35. I was just one pitch
I see
off.
you counting. Nice work.
I did think he was going deep, but I didn't say it on the air. So I don't know if that counts.
No, it counts.
I appreciate that.
I got your back.
And Yachty is swinging a miss, but the Cardinals doing some damage here with 2 outs. Gomber, his first extra base hit over Hamilton in center that drove in 2. Carpenter home run number 35. home runs. Arenado, Harper, Jesus Aguilar, and Paul Goldschmidt on that list. You know, it's probably the perfect time and segue to tell you about a event that I have coming up with Matt Carpenter. September 11th here at the ballpark, we do our speaker series, and Matt has agreed to do that from 11:30 until 1:30. That's September 11th, so a lot of businessmen and women can come down to the ballpark, do a Q&A with Matt. We have a gourmet meal in the club, which is right behind the green seats, as Votto hits it to the right side, backhanded by Adams. Gomber to the bag, nice play. And everybody walks away. It's got to be the Salsa t-shirt, so there's a component of charity with it that'll go to Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. So a chance to hear from Matt Carpenter. Tickets very reasonable, and you can get those tickets now. It'll sell out very quickly. We did kind of a soft sell. We're not even 24 hours into it. Hundreds of tickets sold, and that's Cardinals.com/speakers series. Cardinals.com/speakers series to be up close and hear from maybe the potential MVP, Matt Carpenter. Should be a lot of fun.
Are you allowed to bring a guest?
If you want to pay for the ticket, sure.
Well, I just thought you were going to bring somebody.
I got to bring you, guy that's making the kind of money you're making.
Yeah. Just thought that would be like a perk or something.
And if I was going to bring somebody, I'd bring Ricky.
Really?
Yeah.
You guys go way back. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, you could lie to me. I'm here with you tonight.
I'd bring you to. Fine, I'll bring you September 11th.
Look, honesty's the best policy. Let's stick with that.
Here's Suarez at a 1-1. It's funny how a game can shift very quickly to where you have an error, so 4 unearned runs. The play by Hamilton, or not made in center, could have been made. Would have been a good play, but had a chance to get there. And then all of a sudden, you've got 4 runs and score with 2 outs with a guy that has dropped at least his team 17 of his 18 starts. And then Gomber can settle in.
Yeah, and it's important to make sure you keep the momentum. Got a quick out already on Votto, and being able to get back in the dugout, get back up to bat. And Homer Bailey's got to start thinking to himself, man, here we go again.
Exactly.
And then he makes. I mean, he made some mistakes, no doubt. The ball to Gomber, belt height down the middle. Even if it's a pitcher, you can't make that mistake there. And the one to Carpenter was up and in, a pitch that he could handle. But you, especially when your season is going the way that Homer Bailey's is, you keep thinking to yourself, man, how does this continue to snowball on?
In the air, shallow right, racing in Martinez. He's there, makes the catch. Manager Dream Team in franchise mode, plus get weekly stats, roster updates, and more. RBI Baseball 18 available now. Learn more at RBIGame.com. Rated E for everyone. Matt Carpenter, by the way, 35 home runs, left-handed batter, tied for 7th by a Cardinals left-handed hitter with Stan the Man his 1954 season. And he now has 102 home runs from the leadoff spot. That's tied Derek Jeter 29th all time. Big City takes it himself, and was he off the bag? Apparently he was. Ruled safe and not on the bag. What would have been an 8-pitch inning. Certainly not trying to get in a collision at first base. Tough to tell there, which then means it's tough to overturn.
It is very difficult. The one that you look for is did he try to reach back again? You saw Matt Adams with that leg kind of hanging out, almost looked like he was trying to get back to the bag. But they are going to give this a look. And you're right, that's big right there. You might as well check it out. It was bang bang. It's as close as possible, and if you can get out, you've already got the momentum back on your side. You answered back with 4 runs. And then have your starter, who struggled a little bit early in the first inning, have an 8-pitch 3rd inning. It's huge.
by reaching back to the bag, it makes you think maybe he missed it.
Yeah, it's almost like if you just keep running by, you sell it a little bit better. Very hard to sell anything, though, now in the age of replay. I'm still amazed that this is what the replay system looks like in 2018. Just bust out the headphones, and you'd think there would be a way to expedite the process. Now, something like this, I mean, it might take a minute to look at all the different views, but we just looked at it a couple of times, and honestly, I can't tell you what the correct call is. I'm hoping that it's the opposite of the one that they put.
I wonder if Major League Baseball will ask for bags to have, they call it a lipstick camera. It's a very low-end camera in terms of, when I say low end, it's very tight to the bag, or you see it in football near the pylon. And so plays like that, you'd be able to maybe get a better look at it for the amount of money that they're spending and the importance of games and plays like this.
Wow, look, you really think Major League Baseball has that kind of cash sitting around, Dan?
I do.
Okay, maybe they do.
But I'm not there to spend it. The call stands. Yeah, I think Major League Baseball is doing okay.
Yeah, they're not hurting.
No, sir.
Well, I think it's like anything else. The replay, I believe it will continue to get better. We've seen them streamline the process a little bit more the last couple of years. They've been quicker. They've got more eyes on it in New York, but it can still get better.
I would imagine, I guess it comes down to what you want to invest in it. And various ballparks are going to have better looks than others. You know, your Wrigley Field, Fenway Park, it's tougher to get better camera angles and certain ways to shoot the game with cameras. Newer ballparks will probably be the better ones, as they have input from guys like our director, Tom Mee, by camera angles and what's the best way to present the game to the fans at home. This right here, a unique angle.
From that angle, you see that pitch drop off the table right there, too. Yeah, I believe with replay, if you're going to do it. And you see the breaking ball right there. Nice pitch. Thing just drops off the table.
And the 2-2 swung on and missed. So a strikeout of Phillip Ervin midway through 3, and it's 4-2. There you go. Take us with you. Stream the Cardinals. Download the app Fox Sports Go. Reports now that Josh Donaldson has been dealt to the Cleveland Indians.
Well, there goes your intrigue. to the American League. And interesting fit for the Indians. You know, they've got Jose Ramirez over at third base. Terry Francona came out the other day and said, look, he's not moving to second base. So if in fact that's true, is Donaldson just a bench player? And if he is, great. I mean, that adds depth for a playoff run, but an interesting fit there.
Pretty good lineup.
Really good lineup.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Jose Martinez. 1 ball and 1 strike. He singled, first hit of the game for the Cardinals back in the first inning. And the 1-1 pitch. Home plate umpire John Lipka. Jerry Meals, the crew chief, down at first. Ed Hickox at second base. Gabe Morales down at third. 2 balls and 1 strike on Martinez. Base hit into center. 2 for 2. All he does is hit.
You see it again, not trying to do too much, just get something right here and goes right back up the box with it. Did the same thing in his first at bat. Ground ball right back up the middle. Just seeing the ball so well. And even after he had the big swing and miss on the breaking ball early on, stays on that one really well.
Here's Matt Adams. Struck out his first time. Would now be the right time for his first Cardinal home run back in St. Louis. And ball 1. When the Cardinals acquired him, he was in a rut, something like 0 for 18, 19. Does have a hit in a Cardinal uniform. But now, as we mentioned, the injuries, chance to play. And a lot of times that's how you get back on track. Seeing live pitching, tracking the ball.
You get the reps. And we've seen it. We know the kind of a tear that Matt Adams can go on and how big of a boost he can be for an offense. We also know, even if he's not playing every day, the kind of bat he is off the bench, that's hard to find. And if you're going on a playoff push, you want a guy like that around.
2-1. I think he's put pressure on himself. He loves St. Louis so much. He lives here year round. Never wanted to be dealt in the first place, but doesn't want to mess up anything. He was telling me. Said they've got a good thing going here. I don't want to disrupt that. The flip side, though, is that he knows a lot of these guys. He was teammates with him not that long ago, or came up through the minor leagues with him. Knows Mike Schilt. That was his manager at one point. I said, what do you think of Mike? He said, love him. Love playing for him in the minor leagues.
Well, I don't think there's any fear of him messing anything up. It's almost like he never left. It seems like it's a seamless transition back.
Martinez back to the bag at first. But you can understand it, kind of like what we're talking about, making a trade, and you want to be careful about who you add to the clubhouse.
Certainly.
And part of that equation with adding Matt Adams, good person, good teammate, they know him.
Well, and once again, to hit on a point you had earlier, a guy that knows how to win.
The 2-2 that's pulled foul. You don't bring a guy back unless you know he's been a good teammate and a good citizen, and also a productive player.
Right.
And the 2-2 taken high. Does he come at him with a fastball? Three-two pitch. Adams, base hit. Martinez to second base. He stops there. The Cardinals have made a point of going first to third. The reason he's not at third, and Jose Oquendo, I don't think is happy that he's not, was he had to make sure that ball was not caught. Cardinals really have put an emphasis. Be aggressive going first to third. That ball was smoked.
Yes, it was. And legitimately, I mean, it was very close to Scooter being able to grab that one. Schebler does a nice job of cutting that thing off. And there's no reason to press and getting gunned down here with nobody out over at third.
Here's Tyler O'Neill. Runners at first and second. Strike one. O'Neill has done a nice job filling in. Marcell Ozuna close to returning.
So Ozuna taking batting practice on the field today. The ball was flying off his bat pretty well. I guess it's all about how he responds, how he feels after something like that. But it looked he looked very healthy out on the field today.
It's Tim Levesque who is behind Marcell Ozuna, who is a minor league pitching coordinator and a guy that many around here, you don't hear about his name publicly, but privately getting a lot of credit for the young pitching and getting these guys ready to make the move from single A, double A, triple A. So he's roving and has worked with a number of these pitchers and deserves a lot of credit to what's happening here.
There are a lot of links in the chain, aren't there?
You bet.
You think a guy just gets drafted and he just randomly shows up here. There are a lot of people that influence a career along the way.
O'Neill is swing and a miss. You're going to start seeing more and more new faces in that Cardinal dugout and around baseball as rosters expand. A team like Cincinnati, and this goes back to disrupting a clubhouse. A team like Cincinnati, it's about, okay, what do we have in the minor leagues? We know we got a few guys coming. Let's give them a taste of big league baseball. From the Cardinals' perspective, it's about depth, and let's not mess a good thing up. Third catcher, make sure you're protected there, then add as you go. And Memphis playing in the playoffs coming up for Stubby Clapp.
Yeah, I think it's all about finding that good balance. There are still guys in the organization that you believe maybe have earned a call up, but when you look at what you need here currently for a ball club, maybe it's just not the right time. Either way, it's going to be nice to have those reinforcements, have a couple of new arms down in the bullpen, keep you fresh. The third catcher, as you mentioned. And once again, bringing back guys that are just fits that you know are going to fit in well with this group, and the good thing they've got.
Out to deep left. At the wall. 3-run homer, Paul DeYoung. The Cardinals shortstop now in 15. This one, 3-run shot into the bullpen of the Reds. He has 9 career home runs against Cincinnati.
Well, you see this one just center cut right here. Just does a great job of just getting the barrel on it. And this thing flies out of the ballpark. Line drive. The Cardinals give up 2 in the first. How do they respond? They've put up 7 thus far.
I was just going to say we haven't seen him hit a tater in a while.
Oh, now you're trying to call him after the call him, and you didn't even say that one off air. I'm not giving you that.
I understand. I didn't call it. I just said we haven't seen one in a while.
Right, but yeah, but you didn't even say it.
Got out of here too fast.
That will happen when you leave one right down the middle. Trust me.
7-2. The Cardinals with the lead. Here's Bader as we play here in the home half of the third. Homer Bailey, a guy that's thrown 2 no-hitters in the big leagues. Not 1, but 2.
Those don't just magically happen, by the way. Like, you don't just get lucky on a certain day. Homer Bailey's numbers have not been good this year, certainly. The last couple of years have been a struggle. He's dealt with plenty of injuries out there. But there is some magic in that tank still. But it hasn't popped out too much this year.
Thought Bader may have gotten a piece of it. Home plate umpire says no. So it's a strikeout, 2 in the inning and 4 in the game. And the batter is Jairo Munoz, who's singled to left field. Two outs and nobody on. And Munoz looks at a strike. Cardinals finish up the homestand on Sunday. And then it's Washington, off day, Detroit. That'll be the last 2-city road trip of the year. Majority of these ball games left on the schedule right here at Busch Stadium and under Mike Schilt. Cardinals playing well in St. Louis. The 0-1. Kia drive to success remaining against the Central. The Reds, Pirates back here, Milwaukee back here, and then finish up the season at Wrigley Field. Wouldn't that be something if there's still business to be resolved between the Cardinals and the Cubs?
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, you think about 2015, the Cardinals jumped out to a big lead, finished up with 100 wins, but staggered, it seemed like, with all the injuries to the finish line, and you could just feel the momentum of the Cubs, and it was coming. And it happened in that playoff series against St. Louis, and maybe could be a little bit reversed here in 2018.
Well, you would love to see it, and after the last couple of years of missing out on the playoffs, I feel like the fan base obviously knows how sweet this is right now, and everybody's bought into it. But these guys are battling. They know every game, every at bat means so much.
Knocked down by Bailey, steps and throws for the out. The Cardinals get a 3-run homer by Paul DeYoung, his 15th, and now with 46 runs batted in. 7-2 St. Louis. Number 15 measured at 371 feet. Let's check in with Jim.
Danny, Michael Wacha had that fatigue in his core during his last rehab outing in Springfield, but Wacha was out throwing lightly today and is scheduled for a bullpen tomorrow. Still, the setback may cost him a shot at returning as a starter. John Mozeliak said today it's going to be tough to stretch him out unless Memphis goes really deep. But I think about September, not so much about the 5 starters, but about having our best pitchers in the game. If one guy gives us 3 and another guy gives us 3 and another guy goes 3, that's okay. Dan, for his part, Wacha told me there was some tightness in the ab area in that rehab start, but he's been able to push past it in the last couple days.
All right, Jimmy, thank you. Base hit to start the top of the 4th by Schebler. Lined out to right. And a hard hit ball to right. He's 1 for 2. Tucker Barnhart is single to right field. And a swing and a miss. 7-2 our score. Cardinals fell behind 2-0 after the top of the first. Picked up 4 runs with 2 outs in the second. And moments ago, a 3-run homer hit by Paul DeYoung. The 0-1. Had him way out in front, 0-2. Gomber, tall, lanky. Cardinals in spring training noticed a lot of pitches were up, which he can get away with, especially being a lefty. He's got good velocity, a little extra on that fastball, but wanted to see it down and use the top and the bottom of the strike zone, and he's been able to do that.
He has. It's good to be able to pitch up in the zone, but you want it to be where you're trying to throw the ball instead of it just being the product every time. If you can dot at the knees across the bottom and then be able to elevate the fastball, then you're in good shape. And he's got that big breaking ball that he can throw off of it. That's what makes that high fastball for him so effective.
And that's lined into center. Bader trapped it, and his throw going into first and making a stop, Matt Adams. And I think Bader, what he's saying is that he caught it and it's going to be a double play if he's trying to sell it, but it looked like he did trap it. And indeed, it hit the ground, so clearly.
We were talking a minute ago about selling things, and it's very difficult to do. That was a heck of a sales job right there, though, trying to come up with that one and throw it to first base.
Gomber steps and throws and makes the play with Munoz covering, and the sacrifice by Bailey. Ron and Marianne Ayers of Flora, Illinois, celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary. Big Cardinal fans. Ron pitched at Southern Illinois Carbondale back in the day, and longtime season ticket holders. So happy anniversary to Ron and Marianne Ayers. Runners at second and third. Billy Hamilton at the plate. And that's fouled back just below us. Hamilton, better part of the season, is batted ninth, and in this spot hitting .271 with runners in scoring position. Outfield is straight away. Hamilton puts it in play to third. Carpenter has a play at the plate. The tag by Molina. That saves a run, and there's 2 away. Reds run right into an out.
Well, going on contact right here. Matt Carpenter knows where he's at right away. Throws a strike to Yadier Molina. And you got him by a good couple of steps there at the plate. Changes this inning quite a bit.
Sure does. So runners at first and third. And the batter is Peraza. With Gomber not getting a lot of calls that have been, you know, we have our box that's up there and the ball basically split by a line, and he's not getting those. Just a tight strike zone.
It is. As a young pitcher, though, any pitcher, really, you just got to adjust. If you're getting it, great. If you're not, you're not, but you have to make pitches.
Left center, Bader with room. Edge of the track and makes the catch. Red strand a pair, and it stays 7-2. September 24th. Good look at it there. The 1928 jersey giveaway. Features the pinstripes, throwback Cardinals logo presented by Old Dominion Freight Line. Cardinals.com/promotions. Austin Gomber has gotten into the fun offensively. This is a double back in the second inning. Just over Billy Hamilton, who came in. It really was kind of frozen. One of those that are right at you. And turned out to be 2 runs and a double.
Yeah, Billy was playing very shallow on that one. Thought he had a beat on it and obviously did not. And generally playing shallow against the pitcher, that works out for you. A lot of things can fall in front of you, but very rarely does one get over your head. Well, one did there, and that totally changed that inning. Matt Carpenter with the home run afterwards.
Carpenter, 35 home runs. And think about this. He's hit 32 of the 35 home runs in the last 90 games. It's incredible.
What a tear.
Incredible. Homer Bailey talked about his monster contract. Has 1 year left after this season, roughly around $25 million.
That's good work if you can get it.
Oh boy. Couple of hops sharply hit to short. That's out number 1. Statcast AI powered by AWS.
See Matt just pull his hands in on that one. That's a fastball inner half, about thigh high. And there isn't much he's not seeing at this point. He knows that if it's on the inner half, I mean, if he's not swinging, it's because it's a ball, and if he is swinging, he's got a chance to hit barrel.
Shift on the right side, and the first pitch is strike. Carpenter now 20 for 44 off of Homer Bailey.
Is that good? Well, I'm
right
not a
around
math
500.
guy. Okay, yeah.
That's not a small sample size either. One ball and 1 strike. Cardinals against the Reds this year. They've hit 28 home runs. The best ever, the 2016 club, hit 35 against Cincinnati.
I wouldn't mind catching them this series. Just go ahead and get it over with. We've seen this club do it.
You have those 4 or 5 home run games. Carpenter hits it out to center. Hamilton with the catch. And remember, it was Billy Hamilton. Carpenter was close to 36 when Billy made one of the best plays you'll ever see a center fielder make.
It was pretty ridiculous. Here it is here.
Wow. Amir Garrett was on the mound July 13th. Cardinals scuffling at that point, and a frustrated Matt Carpenter slammed down his helmet, and that kind of summed up the way things were going at that point in the year.
Yeah, that was about par for the course right around then. Well, things have changed here drastically. I think Billy Hamilton has gotten Matt Carpenter a couple of times with the robbed home runs. He is a freak athlete. He's Gold Glove caliber. We know the generally the jumps that gets on the baseball. I know the Gomber one, he ended up getting stuck and it got over his head, but he is a lot of fun to watch out there in center field.
You can dig your cleats. I've talked to outfielders. You can dig your cleats into the padding in this wall at Busch Stadium to give you that extra jump, if you will. And this was earlier today. Billy Hamilton. There it is. You can see the cleat mark in the wall, either describing and showing what he did on July 13th or preparing for another one tonight or this weekend.
I think it might be a little bit of the latter, trying to figure out. You might as well practice everything, and that is part of his game, is being able to do that. He is the freak athlete. He's able to get back to the wall, able to make those type of plays. Kind of the same thing as any outfielder that goes out there and tries to throw the ball off, see how it caroms. Left a nice little mark on the wall when he did it. That's a little bit higher than my jump would have been.
Me too. 1-2 on Molina. Grounded out to third and struck out. Hits it left side and picks up a 2-out base hit. Concerned on this homestand. You may recall, Brad, that Yadi took a foul ball straight off his mask and came up then later in the game. It happened late in the game, and you don't like to speculate, but did look a little dazed. Didn't, you know, just those kind of things you worry about. Remember, he was held out at the tail end of last season because of those types of situations.
It's scary. It is scary back there, and I believe it was Jordan Hicks who was on the mound again when it happened, fouled straight back. Francisco Pena doesn't get too much work around these parts because Yadi is in there battling every day. And those are the ones that you notice. Like we saw that in the game last night. It was a clear shot. It was obvious the umpire gave him the second. But there are so many shots that Yadier Molina, catchers all around the league, just take on a day-in, day-out basis that you don't even notice. But they sure do add up at the end of a season.
I wonder what the average is for, let's say, a catcher that will be behind the plate 130 games, 125 games. Yadi, the exception, he plays every day. But how many of those nicks or direct hits that they get?
You would have to think at least a couple a game, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Now, Dan, you caught for a little bit, didn't you?
Poorly, yes.
Yeah. So I caught once in Little League, but I blinked every time somebody would swing, and I kept getting hit in the chops with it. So that was about it for me.
I caught in fantasy camp, and I couldn't walk for about 2 weeks afterwards.
I gotta say, you were a gamer though. You caught every single game.
I did, until I got frustrated in the championship game and in the middle of an at bat. And I can't remember who the gentleman was, and I'm apologizing to you. You were on my team, but I can't remember who it was. But they wouldn't throw a strike, and I said, I quit. Somebody get back here. I'm going on the mound right now and throwing BP. And I did. I threw strikes.
Yeah, you showed up our teammate.
It's kind of like facing you. A swing and a miss. It was a shot.
You mean pumping strikes?
Pumping.
Yeah,
that's
that was what I did.
Yeah, with a little sink. That's what I had.
Right. Were you talking about the BP part?
I would not go that way with you at all.
Why are you nodding? Yeah. Okay.
Yadi off with the pitch, the 3-2. And Martinez just got a piece of it. They had a portion of fantasy camp that was so you think you could hit a big leaguer. Sure enough, I got you. You were on the mound and you sawed me off with at least I think it was 62, 64 miles an hour.
It was every bit of 76, and you know it. And you had a little firewood.
Sure did.
Good for you. Imagine what that felt like at 90 when the kid was in his heyday.
3-2 pitch again to Martinez, and he walked him. And a chance now for Matt Adams. It's one of the harder hit balls we've seen from Matt Adams his last time up. Singled into right, struck out his first time. At one point this season, the Reds had gone to Homer Bailey and said, we want to put you in the bullpen. Tried to do that in the minor leagues and came back and said it's just not working. Struggle getting loose. Didn't like the role. And with a, you're still in the middle of a long-term deal. You're trying to, from the Reds' perspective, maximize that if you can. As I mentioned, you got nearly $25 million on the table for him next year. I mean, that's a big chunk of their payroll going forward. So, you want to try to get something out of it.
You do, but you're kind of handcuffed too. If a guy won't do other roles, you know what he's been able to do in the past, but those things have not worked so far this year. The numbers that he put up have been lackluster, to say the least, but he's had his big-time days, the 2 no-hitters in 2012 and 2013. We've seen him in the past, years ago, where you just knew on that given day that Homer Bailey wasn't going to give anything up.
And a ground ball that's hit to first. Votto stays with it. Bailey at the bag, and the threat is through. Cardinals strand a pair. We head to the fifth, and it's 7-2. Big League Impact Foundation. Earlier today, fans joined Adam and many of the other Cardinals in attendance to play a little fantasy football. You can make a donation. BigLeagueImpact.com. BigLeagueImpact.com. And Adam telling me that just by the appearance last night, that's a base hit into right field off the bat of Votto, but they had thousands of dollars raised just by his appearance and talking about it. He had a couple of guys that signed up last weekend at $5,000. So as he mentioned, every little bit counts, and make that donation. Adam and his wife doing great things. BigLeagueImpact.org.
I had an opportunity to play a couple years ago in that Wayno's World Fantasy Football League, and it's a blast. You know what's fun about it is that Adam, all the guys that end up playing, and all his teammates, all the celebrities, they do some trash talking as well. That's the real fantasy football experience right there.
Ground ball backhanded by Carpenter out there and safe at first. Nice play by Matt Carpenter. Cardinals have really cleaned things up for the most part defensively, using when healthy an everyday lineup that features Jerko, Wong, and Cardinals feel very comfortable with Carpenter at third base.
It's a tough play going to his backhand side. That hop was kind of a middle hop right there. Did a good job with his soft hands and makes a strong throw over to second base. Those little things that need to happen. You see how an inning can unravel if in fact a play like that's not made. We saw an E5 earlier. Eugenio Suarez, tough play, but still the inning ends up going on and the Cardinals score 4 runs when a play's not made.
Scooter Gennett now at the plate. I'll be interested to hear your take on this as you get around the clubhouse next 3 days and work these games, talk to some of the players. If you get a feeling somewhat of what 2006 and that run was like when you got into postseason, backing up Munoz, missed it, but a play at second base and the force. Well, more than likely that's got to be a right fielder's ball. Hung up there a long time, but Munoz called for it, and you think, well, he's going to make the play, but heads up to get the force at second. Like I said, the Cardinals have really cleaned it up defensively.
Certainly. Just turn around. Here's the thing, no harm, no foul. He ends up finding the ball quickly, makes a throw to second base, gets out of it. But yeah, right on cue.
Thank you very much.
Just like that home run you were thinking about calling earlier, but didn't.
Let's just move on.
Sounds good.
2 outs and a runner at first, and a ball to Phillip Ervin. Don't you love that in live TV when it just, everything just falls into place?
Yeah. Baseball's a funny game, isn't it?
Weird. It's a weird game. Shallow right again, and this time Martinez makes the catch. 7-pitch inning for Austin Gomber. O'Neill, the young, Bader, all coming up. Not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the content descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. There's Tyler O'Neill, followed by Paul DeJong and Harrison Bader. 7-2 our score. And that's ripped in the gap in right center field off the bat of Tyler O'Neill. He's to second. Oh, and he'll stop there. I was thinking 3.
I think that he could have had it there. You don't want to kill the rally before it begins, though, making that first out over at third base. But he does a great job of staying on this fastball away. That's outer half right there. But he just hangs with it, lets it get deep, and uses that power. And probably a little salsa. There it is.
107 off the bat, miles per hour of Tyler O'Neill. And a right-hander begins to throw now behind Bailey in the bullpen of the Reds. Paul DeJong reached on an air and also hit a 3-run homer. BJC Healthcare difference maker and the home run hit by Paul DeJong. Missed considerable time and still with 15 home runs from the shortstop position.
It's big. He showed off the power last year. You knew it was in there, and it's great to see him back in. I just can't wait till we see this group get all healthy again. As you mentioned, the 06 run, that's what happened. When it got to playoff time, you look around and all the guys that have been carrying you at different spots throughout the year, all came together and we're all healthy at the same time. You got to hope this group has that same fortune and they're able to get healthy and get out there.
Your first year was
05.
Did you talk in 06?
Very little. I think 07 started a little bit, had a few conversations. By the time I got comfortable, I was in Kansas City.
You always put your career down. You're a good pitcher.
Yeah, I just didn't talk much.
Very quiet.
Yeah. Well, and nobody ever came to interview me like a guy like you.
Tried.
Did you? Like maybe I didn't notice when my head was in my locker.
That's correct. 3-1. Told you I went up to you one of your first days. I always try to make a point in doing that. Brad, I'm Dan.
I'll bury you.
Hi.
Oh no, that was here.
That was here. I said I'd bury you up here in the booth.
That's correct.
If you got out of hand.
Right.
What do you listen to? I don't know. You're from Vegas? Oh, Greg Maddox from there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You ever meet him? Went to his camp. Okay, have a great run. And now here we are.
Really?
Seriously.
Okay. Well, I was a little nervous back then. Still am now.
Doing a great job. 3-2 pitch, and he struck him out. Seven to 2 our score. September 15th, 30,000 fans 16 and older receive a replica 2013 National League Champions Mystery Player Ring. Detachable base, it's wearable. Presented by Edward Jones. How many consecutive scoreless innings? And I mean this sincerely.
Well, I'm not 57 2/3.
Okay.
I'm not a big numbers guy.
Right. Well, that came to you very quickly.
Well, when you have a positive thing, you hang to it. Just cling with it.
It's popped up to the right side. Ball will drop and foul. Now that's the all-time Cardinals minor league record for consecutive scoreless innings.
Yeah, I would think so. It's they call it the modern day record, at least. Apparently they dug something up from like 1906 where a guy threw more than that. I think he got like 70 or something. He threw both games of a doubleheader. The game changed a little bit.
Just spinning it up there.
Yeah. Snell of the Rays actually got very close to it this year. He had 40 something, or last year, I'm sorry. Pretty good run for him. And he's been one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. It's amazing how scoreless streaks can, change as far as big league results go.
There's the 0-1, and it's hit on a hop to short. Bader is out. O'Neill was running on the play.
You got to respect that hustle. Even a play like that, that's routine. You put a lot of pressure on the shortstop. He's got to make a throw right there.
O'Neill had this stolen pretty easily. Lucky though it didn't turn into a double play, which is the risky run. Starting the runner in those spots. And here's Jairo Munoz with Gomber on deck, so they'll intentionally walk him.
I've seen this movie. Austin Gomber got one up early in this game. Had that big 2 RBI double. Looking to make a little bit more magic.
So runners at the corners. Austin Gomber at the plate, 7-2. Homer Bailey, by the way, due up third for the Reds. Little chopper off the glove of Bailey. They'll go across the diamond. Could have stepped on the bag for the out. Went to Votto. And the threat is through. Leadoff double by Tyler O'Neill does not come around to score. It's 7-2. in our Budweiser What's on Tap. We're on the air at 5:30 with the pregame show. 6:15 with the first pitch. The Saturday night here at Busch. Took that no-hitter into that debut start, and there's a look at Tyler O'Neill. He just doubled. We check in with Jim.
And you guys were talking about O'Neill the other night and how parts of his swing reminded you of Mark McGwire. I asked Tyler about it today, and he said he started watching videos of Mark McGwire and a couple other power guys when he was young. O'Neill said he started lifting weights seriously when he was about 15 years old. He said he started filling out and hitting the ball a lot farther. So he watched guys like McGwire because he figured that's the kind of hitter he'd be. So if you see elements of Mark McGwire in his swing, maybe that's why.
Yeah, Jimmy, it was Ricky that talked about it, and I think that replay that we just showed is a good example. I mean, how he kind of finishes high, the one arm comes off the bat, and then the forearms, was my point, they look awfully similar too.
Yeah, I believe there's sawdust down there in the box. No, but he does have a similar finish. Ends up after a stride, nice wide base, and big time power.
Big power. Yeah, Ricky said that last night, and then I took a closer look. I thought, yeah, there is something to that. Interesting that he watches those power hitters. 1 ball and a strike on Schebler. There's some power there into right center, and this ball is off the wall. Bader over to cut it off, and quickly back into the infield, and it's a leadoff double. Just the little things when you watch Harrison Bader play. This is one of them. But just quickly getting it back in the infield.
It fires this thing in. And it is all about knowing how a ball is going to carry him off the wall, especially in your home ballpark. You should have that down by now, getting yourself in a good position and getting it back in. If you fumble with that, he's on third base, then that little ground ball brings him in. You hold him to a double. You hopefully you keep him there.
Tucker Barnhart at the plate. We'll see a pinch hitter at the on deck circle. The runner at second and nobody out. Ground ball softly hit. Carpenter to first and staying put. Schebler at second base. It's got to be at third.
Well, the little details of the game that we were talking about earlier on, things that need to get done, things that you see winning ball clubs do over and over again. And that's kind of one of them. Right off the bat, you see him just hold and then break backwards, and he knows right away he should have been over there at third.
Carpenter with a 5-run lead had no intention of looking him back. He's going to get the out. Hit softly enough with the ball in front of the bag at third base, so I'm sure that's one that Schebler would love to have back. Dilson Herrera, who has hit a pinch hit home run against the Cardinals earlier this season, is at the plate. You know, you think about the Reds. They had the air at third base. Billy Hamilton and a ball that froze him led to 4 runs. They ran into an out 2 innings ago with a play at the plate. This play not advancing second to third. Those things add up. Good teams take advantage, and the Cardinals have done that as Martinez will make the catch. Schebler tagging up from second to third. That would be your run.
Yep. And it happens a lot of times. You see it, and then that happens, and you realize, man, I messed up right there. But it's part of the game. I guess you got to learn on the fly.
So 80 pitches for Gomber. The Cardinals have the top of the lineup coming up. Here's Billy Hamilton. It was Hamilton at the plate back in the 4th with runners at second and third and only 1 out. And the Reds did not score. There's ball 1. Milwaukee a 4-1 lead. That's in the 9th inning against Washington. The Cubs and the Phillies top of the 9th, and they're tied 1-1. Two and 0. Cardinals with Brett Cecil getting loose in the pen, a right-hander as well. I believe that's Dominic Leone. 2-0 pitch. Popped up. DeYoung. 9-pitch inning for Austin Gomber midway through 6. Take home your Big Mac bobblehead commemorating the 20-year anniversary of his record-setting season. It celebrates home run number 62, brought to you by Coca-Cola and Dearborns. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. Raining now here at the ballpark. There's Luke Weaver there on the right, announced as the starter on Sunday. So adults trying to catch raindrops in their mouth, and apparently the kids are too. Chevy called to the pen. Matt Whistler making his Reds debut, called up from Louisville today. Acquired from Atlanta back on July 30th. Sent Adam Duvall to the Braves. He is an Ohio native, drafted by San Diego, 7th round 2011. And he made 74 appearances for the Braves between 2015 through 18. We've seen him before. Carpenter now with 35 home runs. 2 RBI day for Matt with a 2-run homer back in inning number 2. Fly to left and also fly to center. When do you bunt? When do you not bunt? 5-run lead. He could drop down a bunt here and get a base hit.
He could also hit a home run. We've seen it, and that is one thing that Matt Carpenter is not afraid to lay it down. He's also not afraid to hit into the shift, because as we've seen, he's got doubles power. He's got home run power, most in the league. And generally in a game that's a little bit tighter, maybe you would think about dropping that one down. And I do know that every run counts, but I feel like right here you just let it rip.
And there's a strikeout to start the inning.
Bello Cooling and Heating, #1 rated. Call now for special offers. Bello, answer the bell.
Yadier Molina has grounded out to third, struck out, single to left, 1 for 3. Very light rain, almost a mist here at the ballpark. A rather muggy night here in Busch Stadium. And a ball. Cardinals have Ponce de Leon going tomorrow. Luis Castillo for the Reds. Luke Weaver, Anthony DeSclafani on Sunday. And Yachty serves it out to left. 2 away. And with 2 outs, the batter is Jose Martinez. 2 for 2 with a walk. Average started at .311. It's now at .314. Games that he's had 3 or more hits in a game.
It's amazing. It really is. And the fact that he does it to all fields, he's got big time power, but it'll also show you he'll shorten up. He'll go up the middle. He'll go the other way if you need him to. He hits the ball where it's pitched as well as anybody on the team. I say him and Yadier Molina.
Agreed with that. Take it up the middle, go to right.
Yep.
0-2 the count. He was talking the other day about pitchers quick pitching him because of all the movement.
I would.
The legs.
Try it.
Yeah.
Try a little something. Now, I don't think that pitchers have found anything that's really worked on him yet, but you figure if you can catch him mid-waggle in the middle of his setup, you try.
Whistler looking out towards right. I'm not sure what he saw.
Maybe he was showing where Martinez is going to put this ball in the gap.
So you're calling this?
That would be nice.
You're calling it.
It would have been better like yours had it happened on that pitch right there.
Mine took 2 pitches. So you're saying right center.
I'm saying he's going to try to throw him another breaking ball away. He's going to miss, and he's going to hit it in that gap right around the Phillips 66 side. Just throwing it out there. Never mind.
And an inside fastball up and in.
Well, that's funny how this game works, huh? Well, he's setting him up for that slider we were talking about.
Now you go away.
I would.
All right, Bradley. It's your time to do a little play-by-play and take over for Waino. This is your call.
Well, here comes that slider away.
Ooh.
That was it.
That was it.
That was it right up there.
Now
left it up.
I have to give you a bit of advice.
Yes.
You can't just pound the table.
Is that audible?
You got to describe it.
Oh, I got excited though.
Or just, you know, give it a little oomph. But
all
this,
right. That felt like oomph though.
This is yours. Get ready for a home run call.
Here comes the slider again. Jose Martinez fouls it off, battling up there, waiting for that one pitch that he can drive the other way, probably to the Phillips 66 side or over it.
Well, no, you can't have both. You want the double or you want the home run?
Yes.
Got it.
Right.
I'm saying a home run. You're going double to right center. He's going to hang that slider.
That's what I started with. I'm going to stick with the double.
Okay, now what? This is your call. Right here. This is yours.
I'm going back to the slider right here. That's how I believe I can get him out if I'm Matt Whistler.
Pitch number 8 of the at bat.
He's battling up here. He's set him up for this pitch away. Shook to the slider. He wants it. Jose Martinez.
Now that was my pitch. He hung that one.
That was huge right there. And he set it up very well. Martinez has got a good look at this slider. He's seen 4 or 5 of them so far in this at bat. And just going back to our point initially, he hits the ball where it's pitched. You throw him that breaking ball away, he drives the ball away. You throw him the fastball in, he's able to get his hands in. And here comes another slider. He's not getting cheated.
No.
Here. 3-2 count. Has seen a bunch of these breaking balls, and he's taking big hacks on them. and just missing. Matt Whistler's done a very good job of executing some pitches here as well.
Are you ready for your call?
Yes.
I'm telling you it's a home run, but get ready for your double. 10th pitch of the at bat. Go ahead, Brad. Okay, you got to say something.
Well, I was just letting it sit up. I didn't want to talk mid-pitch. I didn't want to jump all over my own call. Like I do that to you oftentimes, but I wasn't going to do it to my own.
You're just letting it breathe.
Right. That's what I was doing right there on the
Gotcha.
fastball away.
Okay. I'm telling you, just get ready for the home run call.
All right.
But be prepared for your double as well into the gap in right center. Go ahead, Brad.
Here comes the slider away. Jose Martinez continues to battle all over this slider. This is going to be epic, this at bat. It already is.
So 11 pitches.
He's seen everything. He's seen everything that Whistler has. He's tried the fastball in, he's tried it away, he's tried many a breaking ball. Feels very comfortable throwing that thing for a strike. He's seen plenty of them. And draws the walk. Incredible at bat right there by Jose Martinez. Had he thrown that slider for a strike again away, you knew exactly what was going to happen. It was going to be a double in the right center gap and or a home run.
I like the latter.
As you call. Great at bat right there though by Jose Martinez.
So 12 pitch at bat by Martinez. Really nice job on the walk call. And now here's Big City.
It
Two
felt
outs.
big. The walk call felt big. There was a lot of build up to that.
Yeah. You really sold it. And Adams hits a high fly ball out to left. Catch is made. The 12 pitch at bat by Martinez. And one of the great walk calls in baseball history from Brad Thompson. Enter inning number 7. And it began roughly in the first. He gave up a couple. But then since that point has settled in and had really quick innings.
Yeah, he's done a really good job of settling down. He's got his sights set lower in the zone, and the Cardinals took back the momentum early on in this game in the second inning, and he has kept it the Cardinals' way by executing pitches.
Here's Jose Barraza. Top of the 7th, 7-2 our score. Cardinals fell behind 2-0. Then 4 unearned they picked up in the bottom of the 2nd, 3 in the 3rd. Despite the fact that they've been out hit 10-9. 2 balls and no strikes.
We've also seen some really good defense behind Gomber, plays being made, and him just going out there trying to pound the strike zone.
Dominic Leone on the left, Brett Cecil on the right. Ryan Eversgerd, the bullpen coach, between them. 2-2 the count. Peraza tonight, base hit to center and a run scored. Popped out and flied out. Reds had at one point 4 hits in a row in that first inning. The 2-2 pitch. Hit it to right. Martinez over near the line and makes the catch. Well, you had Cecil getting loose. You got to think that he's getting loose for Jeanette. Gomber will face Votto, and if he needed to go to the bullpen, maybe Dominic Leone for Suarez.
Yeah, the beauty of Leone also is we know how tough he is on lefties. So if you want to bring him, leave him in there for multiple guys, if it is in fact Suarez and Scooter Jeanette, then you could do that. But the Cardinals have a lot of options out there in that bullpen. I'm glad that Dominic Leone is back in the mix. His cutter is filthy. The slider that he throws off that he spots up his fastball. Remember, he was supposed to be the 8th inning guy. That was the guy that you thought in that Randall Grichuk trade that you were going to be able to plug right in.
Maybe the closer.
Yes, certainly, and be good to go. Missed a lot of time this year, but it's nice to have him back in a big spot for the Cardinals.
And an 0-2 pitch on Joey Votto. Say it all the time. This guy is worth the price of admission. What a hitter, what a player. Putting together a Hall of Fame caliber career and resume. And a strikeout. Catches the outside corner. Didn't like it. That's out number 2.
Well, like it or not, I think this is a very good curveball in the outer half. He's out there giving his entire case to home plate umpire John Lipka. But you see it right here, just nice overhand curveball. 77-mile-an-hour right on the outer half. Great pitch.
How quiet Yadi is behind the plate to frame that up too.
So good. He is so good, and we get spoiled around here getting a chance to watch Yadier Molina night in, night out. Watch around baseball. Watch it. Just talk about the quiet aspect. Watch how catchers receive the ball. It seems like he's catching with a pillow back there. Everything's just so soft.
I'm sure you felt that way when you were on the mound with him.
I'm telling you, there were plenty of pitches that I would throw, especially ones that were low in the zone. Sinkers that came out of my hand that I knew were going to be low. And he did such a great job of just keeping the strong wrist and sucking the ball up and making it a strike. But it never looks like he's trying to frame anything. He's just so talented with his hands.
Here's a 1-2. And a ground ball put in play to third. Carpenter with it. And a 1-2-3. Gomber so efficient after that first inning. Longest outing now of his big league career. It's 7-2. Let's stretch. Some pretty big names being dealt. A couple of MVPs, Donaldson and McCutchen. Baseball season entering its final month.
Might be a little under the radar too, but the pickup for the Dodgers of Ryan Madson, I think that's a good pickup for them. We know their bullpen has had their struggles here recently. Kenley Jansen, we got a chance to see firsthand the way that he looked coming back off of the DL. And they needed somebody else out there. They have Kenta Maeda now, who, we saw him out of the bullpen as well. He's awesome out of the pen. He was great down the stretch for them on their World Series run, or pennant run at the very least last year. So that's good. And then you add another arm you can trust, and they've got to hope that Kenley Jansen ends up being the guy that he has been his entire career. I think that's a sneaky good pickup.
It is interesting as much money as they've spent on the everyday lineup, and I mean, big name after big name, and they go out and get Machado and Dozier, but yet their bullpen compared to the Cardinals in that series, that was the difference in the series. There's the first down to strikeout of O'Neill. Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. 7-2 our score. Here in the bottom of the 7th, and Paul DeYoung at the plate. Outfield straight away, and ball 1.
What did you think about the Yankees and McCutchen?
I'm going to flip it on you too, but just watching him in San Francisco, and again, albeit 3 games, 4 games, whatever it was, not the same Andrew McCutchen.
No.
But they need help in their outfield with Judge out.
That's the thing. I don't think the Yankees are at a point right now, and they were 27 outs away from the World Series last year, where I think their mentality is, hey, we're a world championship team, so we're going to make championship moves. And I think that's what the addition of a guy like McCutchen is. Even when Judge comes back, you've got a salty veteran that you can have, that you can go to, can play anywhere for you in the outfield, take pro ABs, and plus you put him in that ballpark, and I think his numbers look a lot better.
Goes to right very well.
Yep.
I'm curious too, from your perspective, you were on clubs that added veteran players. You get a guy that goes to New York, the big stage, and a team that has a chance to win. You get kind of lightning in a bottle too, don't you?
Yeah, and I think a guy like McCutchen, who's been a superstar in this league for years, but he was never in that superstar market. Well, I think it's a great chance for him to potentially go out there and shine. And like I said, there's still some in there. He might not be the player that he was earlier on in his career, but there's still a lot of talent there.
Want to buy or sell tickets at the last minute? Get the StubHub app. You can grab 100% MLB verified tickets until the first pitch. Sell your extras to another fan. Get the StubHub app today. StubHub, official partner of the Cardinals. I don't know. There's something about saying I played and I wore that uniform of the New York Yankees. It's iconic.
Sure.
Matt Holliday talked about that. He said, talking with him in Colorado, there were other teams interested in him, and he was going to make his choice based on familiarity. So either St. Louis, the Yankees, or Colorado, and went to the Rockies, and there's a base hit for Bader. And I talked to him about playing in New York, and he said it's one thing to play in St. Louis, which is an iconic franchise in baseball, and then you go to the Yankees, and he said, and that's an iconic uniform you get to wear. It's something special when you look back at your playing career.
He got to play for the 2 winningest organizations in all of baseball, and so much history out there. You get a chance to be around here, and you see the Hall of Famers that show up every day. Well, they've got a very similar history over there with the Yankees. I'd have to imagine it is pretty cool to play there.
Here's Jairo Munoz, 7-2 our score. The base hit by Bader. Patrick Wisdom at the on deck circle, so the Cardinals will go to their bullpen for innings 8 and 9. Munoz, a base hit to left and an intentional walk. Also grounded back to Homer Bailey in the 3rd. It was interesting. Lance Berkman went to the New York Yankees the stretch run of 2010, and many around baseball thought, well, and it didn't go well. They thought, well, this guy may be done. Oh, he was far from that.
There was a little bit left, wasn't there?
Oh boy, what a player for a brief time here in St. Louis.
What a leader as well. Just a great guy to have on your team that you can learn from, whether it be just him talking with your guys by example, and a guy that you never wanted to face in a big spot.
Big part of 2011, Matt Carpenter grew up with a poster of Lance Berkman hanging on his wall. He told me recently, he said he's also not only a great teammate player, he said he's probably top 2 or 3 of the funniest people he had ever met.
I've heard that. I didn't find him that funny when I faced him all the time when he was with the Astros.
He's pretty good.
He was pretty good.
Munoz hits it out of play. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Phillies walk off the Cubs, a final of 2-1. So if the Cardinals hold on, they'd be 3.5 at the start of play tomorrow, and the Cubs at the beginning now of a really tough stretch of baseball away from Wrigley. Asdrubal Cabrera with a walk-off homer.
Tell you what, for us right now in the booth and for fans, it's fun to watch the scoreboards every night. It's fun to watch the standings and see where everybody is shaken out. For the Cardinals right now, they just keep doing their thing. They're going to be just fine. It's all about the day-to-day.
I don't buy it.
Oh, no. You look, you check,
okay,
you know.
You.
But
Players
I'm saying
and manager and
I'm
everybody.
saying you have to. Yeah, that's the biggest lie ever. Oh, I don't look at the standing. Yeah, you see it.
Sure you do.
It's there, and you know where you're at. But your focus isn't on what everybody else is doing. You don't have to rely on somebody. The Cardinals are in the driver's seat right now. Their playoff future is in their hands. And if they keep playing this type of baseball, it doesn't matter if the Phillies walk off the Cubs, and it doesn't matter what the Rockies do or the D-backs. It matters what they do.
Thank you for clearing that up.
No
I don't
problem.
buy it.
Yeah, no, it's a lie. On the bullpen right now, I'd be looking at the standings.
Of course you would. Bader was running, and it's a strikeout. We're at Busch Stadium, 7-2. Seven to 2, our game summary. Homer Bailey lasted 5. Gomber, longest major league outing for him, 7 innings. Carpenter, home run number 35, and Paul DeYoung, number 15. I think to your point, Brad, if you're the Cardinals, you do handle business in this series, but bottom line is when you have the Cubs and Phillies going head to head, you win a game, you're getting, some separation between one or the other.
Oh, for sure.
They're going head to head.
Yep, and I totally believe that the division, especially the way that the Cardinals have been playing, and I know the Cubs have played well here recently also, I think it's definitely up for grabs. I think you keep battling it out, and I cannot wait. I know there's a lot of great baseball, and the season can be summed up before we get there. But that last series of the year against the Cubs in Chicago, I mean, that's got a chance to be unbelievable.
Scooter Gennett at the plate. Brett Cecil, and the first pitch fouled back. As you saw, Wisdom took over at third, Carpenter at first base. And the 0-1. Take it just a bit high. Scooter Gennett batting .315.
Yeah, that trade worked out pretty well for him with the pickup by the Reds.
Essentially let go by Milwaukee. Grew up a Reds fan. Moved to Florida when he was 9, and then played all year round down in Florida with the weather there.
Easy to do.
That's why so many players come from Florida or Texas, California, Las Vegas.
That's right.
2-1 pitch. 3-1.
Tell you what, that's the pitch that you want to see out of Brett Cecil consistently, is just his feel for the breaking ball. Because that's when he's at his best. If he's got that, the one that he can throw for a strike, the sweeper that he can throw across, down and away, that's when Brett Cecil is on top of his game. And being able to repeat it, that's one thing that he struggled with. We've seen a few since he came back off the DL where he's been able to do so, and he's looked a lot better. Good
Popped
one there.
Up and out of play. Line on Gomber, 7 innings, 10 hits, 2 runs, scored in the first, struck out 3, did not walk anyone. 96 pitches, 62 for strikes after nearly a 30-pitch first inning.
It's unbelievable. We didn't watch that first inning and necessarily think he's going to be able to get deep in that game, but he bounced back. They got the momentum back. He kept it there. It's nice to see the no walks out of him as well.
Don't want to see that with a 5-run lead, a leadoff walk here in the top of the 8th.
Watching the 2-0 while your friends go for the steal? We understand. Great Southern Bank. We're fans too.
Our friends on Twitter can truly be friendly.
Yeah.
And sometimes the truth hurts.
What do you mean?
Well, we were talking about Lance Berkman, and
right.
You felt he may have been funny behind the scenes, but yeah, you didn't like him.
Funny at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we had one of our viewers on Twitter say that he checked Thompson's stats against Berkman. Lance was 5 for 10, 2 home runs, 3 doubles. Ended that tweet with definitely not funny.
Thanks, Internet. And thanks for watching and then going straight to Baseball Reference. It's not necessary. You know? I painted the picture.
Sorry I brought it up.
You didn't have to illustrate every bit of it. I knew it was bad.
Hey, but there's other guys you owned, right?
I'm sure. You wouldn't know their names probably. Lance Berkman was that guy where, I mean, you kind of knew what I was going to pitch. I was going to go sinker away. I was going to throw the breaking ball in on you. But right when I thought I got him to a point where I could throw a fastball in on him, I would do so. I'd execute a pitch, and then he'd pull a home run as opposed to flicking one the other way. He was amazing. And not funny.
Not funny at all.
No. I'm sure he thought it was funny when we would clash, if you'd like to call it that.
I thought the umpire was very tough in your appearances. You got squeezed a lot.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah. And that's not funny.
I had one pitch gone the other way,
Sure.
I would have been in the driver's seat. The stats would be flip-flopped. I'd think he's hilarious. But it played out this way, you know.
And here you are.
Yeah.
And you're enjoying this.
Yes. I mean, everything happens for a reason. That's what they say, Dan. So here we are.
Here we are. Great. Wish you would have got Berkman. That's
minute.
fouled back.
Really?
Oh. I got to give you trouble.
It's fine. I wish I'd have got him too. Not to not be here, just so we didn't have to have somebody digging up stats on Baseball Reference.
Yeah, you don't like that too much.
I'm not going to bring up anybody else. I had my struggles against Russell Branyan. I'll get ahead of that one before you get that text.
Not going there.
Somebody
Slowly
will.
hit left side. Wisdom makes the play. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest, brought to you by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. By Ford, going further so you can. And by Barnes Jewish Hospital and Washington University physicians, national leaders in medicine. So when you first got the job to become an analyst, I said, Brad,
I'll bury you.
Well, that was first. But then second, I said, now quit with all that self-deprecating stuff.
Right.
You made it to the big leagues. You're a World Series pitcher.
Totally agree. I feel way better about my career than I let people know.
You should. You
Yeah.
made it to the big leagues.
Darn right.
It's a big deal, man.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. I generally follow the lead, your lead, and you keep dragging me down these negative.
Oh, boy. That's Russell Branyan-esque. Into deep right, Scott Schebler. It's a long home run. He's now a triple away from the cycle, and every ball he's hit tonight has been hard.
Yeah, he's seeing the ball very well. He gets one right here. Just center cut. Gets every bit of this one.
So Mike Maddox, slow walk, cuts a lead now to 7-4 here in the top of the 8th with one out. TD Ameritrade teaming up with the Cardinals to bring you $6 tickets. Cardinals host the Pirates 10th, 11th, and 12th. $6 TD Ameritrade tickets now at cardinals.com/TDA. .55 career home runs for Schebler, 9 against the Cardinals. Next closest opponent was 5. Measured at 431 feet. Can I give you a good Houston stat?
Yes.
Hall of Famer Craig Biggio,
Okay.
0 for 5 against you.
That's right.
0 for 5.
I've still got a mental at bat against him on a Monday Night Baseball game where I just carved him up, got inside with a couple of sinkers, then sweeping sliders. See you later, HOF.
I got your HOF.
That's right here. I really like Craig Biggio. I think he's hilarious too.
He's a
by the
funny
way,
guy,
isn't he?
Here's a 2-0 pitch. 3-0. Crowd a little bit restless here. 3 balls and no strikes. And warming up for St. Louis, Jordan Hicks.
Well, the Cardinals still have their 3-run lead, which is great. But to your point, you see Jordan Hicks warming up. It changes how you deploy your bullpen. You'd love to be able to build in some rest for some of these guys. A guy like Hicks, a guy like Norris. Tough to do when you're in these tight ball games, though.
Letting Hicks maybe get some time here. Will Mike Schilt go to his bullpen and bring in Jordan Hicks? waiting for Mason Williams to be announced. And here comes Mike Schill. So Hicks coming on when we come back. And Jordan Hicks has one, albeit harder, and there's not many that throw this hard with this kind of sink. And Ricky was talking about, I'm sure you can appreciate it too, Brad. I mean, the fact that he's throwing this hard with movement is what just blows you away.
I don't understand the physics of it. I don't understand how you could throw a baseball 102 miles an hour and it still drops a foot. I don't know how it gets that much time to do something like that. I do know that as a hitter, that's very difficult to square up. 100 anyhow is hard. Like, your timing has to be perfect. Then imagine that thing is just boring in on a right-hander. We saw him punch out a lefty. Just unfair. 102 sinking off the table. He's special and he's fun to watch.
A big-time weapon out of the bullpen. Now Mason Williams at the plate. Runner at first. Cardinals with a 3-run lead. And there's ball one. He's closing in on 600 pitches this year that have been 100 miles per hour or better.
I keep seeing the stats that like the Cardinals have so many fastballs over 100. Then it's Cardinals relievers that have so many. Let's just be honest. It's Jordan Hicks.
It's Hicks. Mike Myers did hit 100, and I believe that was in Cincinnati. One time for sure, maybe twice. This young man, age of 21, has done an incredible job. The 2-0 pitch to Williams.
It's a great adjustment right there. 2-0, first couple of pitches, his hand was a little bit sideways, fingers around the ball. This one, he's right on top of it. You see that good downward sink as opposed to the arm side run that we saw a couple of that just went off the plate by a good foot. Minor adjustments, major outcomes.
2-2. Well, we've had a chance to watch him now. Does he remind you of anybody in the league or anybody that you saw?
No. I think he's that special. I think he's just one of those guys. You don't see that. And he's still learning. I love the makeup that he has for the bullpen too. Is perfect. He's got future closer written all over him. I haven't had an opportunity to talk to him. I don't know if in his heart of hearts he wants to be a starter, but I know that this bullpen suits him quite well.
And that's a base hit, and all of a sudden now the tying run will come to the plate. When lefties get a hit off of Jordan Hicks, more times than not, it's this. Just trying to barrel one up and take it the other way.
That's all you can do, and that one just center cut. It is 101 miles an hour, but it's up in the zone. He'd seen a few fastballs already, so got a chance to time it. Just stayed in there well and drove it the other way. Tough guy to double up here. We always talk about him being a ground ball away from 2 outs. Is going to have to be hit at the correct spot with Billy Hamilton running.
So 1 out and 2 on. With Peraza at the on deck circle. Talking about Molina, we've mentioned this a few times throughout the season. A pitch like that, how hard that is for him to catch. Sink, missed location, down and in, has to turn the glove.
He's had a couple this year that it almost seemed like magic, him being able to catch it.
Yes.
Whether it be like the arm side sinker that just has crazy run, the one that cuts a little bit every once in a while.
Talked to Tim McCarver about this, but a guy with a sinker that moves late, and then a guy that has a kind of sinker like this that's throwing so hard, the pressure that it can put on a catcher's thumb.
Yep.
As he adjusts the glove. Remarkable.
Well, you see most catchers have that thumb guard that actually goes into their glove, and you certainly need it with a guy like Jordan Hicks throwing those.
There's the slider. Two and 1 the count. A starter in the minor leagues. And to your point, Cardinals felt here's a guy that his mindset, way he competes, let's get him ready to go potentially every day. Hit the other way and a foul ball. And when I say every day, you can't use him every day, but
you want to.
Yeah, sure. But come to the ballpark with the mindset, I may have a chance to compete tonight.
Yeah, and not that he's had too many rocky games, but he always bounces back really well, and that's not an easy thing for a young pitcher to do. I think we forget with all the success that he's had this year. He was in high A last year. He was in A ball last year, and he's in the big leagues, and he's one of the most dominant relievers in the game.
Seeing that, as hard as he's throwing, you got to wonder if O'Neill is almost too deep in left. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Popped up. Molina near the screen. Out of play.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard for Billy Hamilton to get one up in the air to left field with the way that he's throwing the ball. You're right. You also don't want to get burned with the one over your head, so just in case you play him straight up and you hope for the best.
The 2-2. Hamilton, little chopper. This will be a tough play. Bases loaded. Infield hit against Hicks. The bases are loaded. And only 1 out as Hamilton is shaking his left hand. You've got Peraza coming up here, and then after that, Joey Votto.
See him just getting a little piece of it. That's what speed does. All you got to do is put it in play. You give yourself a chance. This game just got very, very interesting right now.
Peraza, if you're wondering, is grounded into 11 double plays. 17th infield hit this year for Hamilton. Second to the man at the plate who's got 22. Fastball. There's times when you watch the ball come out of the hand of Hicks where everything is perfect.
Yep.
That was it. Anxious moments there for Austin Gomber. The 0-1 and a fly ball into right center. Bader circling it to make the catch. Runners at the corners. And it's now a 2-run game with the go-ahead run coming to the plate in Joey Votto. Having seen Votto against hard throwers that the Cardinals have had, and that includes Hicks earlier this year, always chokes up on the bat. But it seems like, Brad, the one thing he's trying to do is barrel it and hit it to left field.
Yep. Yeah, and the thing about that as a pitcher, and Yachty behind the plate, you know that. You understand what he's trying to do, but you also know how good a Joey Votto is if you leave that thing on the inner half. If you try to go in so he can't do that, then all of a sudden you let him get the barrel to one that way, and then you're losing the game. Safer to stay away.
You got Suarez on deck. And he's got 30 home runs when closing in on 100 runs batted in.
Well, we know this overall for the Reds this year. The pitching hasn't been anything to write home about, but this offense is. The offense is very good. A lot of pieces that you can build on for the future. Great veterans like a guy like Joey Votto, who's up at bat right now. They can score some runs in a hurry.
Yep. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Ooh, what a rip there by Joey Votto on a pitch. 1-0-2.
That's just competing right there. Say, here it is. Here's my fastball. Let's see what you can do with it. Big hack right there by Joey Votto.
And the 1-1 pitch to Votto. 2 strikes. Let's see if this crowd comes alive now. Might be your game right here. '21-year-old Jordan Hicks in one of the game's best at the plate with the game on the line. The 1-2 fouled back by Votto. 103 on the gun.
Strength against strength right here. We talk about Joey Votto just trying to shorten up and make something happen, and Jordan Hicks had another one of those perfect releases, Danny, you were just talking about. Free and easy. 103 down in the zone. I don't care if you're Joey Votto or a guy that just showed up to the big leagues. That's very tough to barrel up.
The 1-2. 2-2. .104 on the gun. Old-fashioned hardball right here with Votto.
Those would have been typos a decade ago.
The 2-2. Full count.
We've seen 2 in a row here just get away from him. Arm side, that run as opposed to the sink we saw early on in this at bat. Got to be able to bear down, just focus down in the zone, nice and easy, like we've seen a few of already. It's the sink, not the run, that'll end up getting them.
Here we go. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Joey Votto. Walked him. That puts the tying run now in scoring position. And the bases are loaded. This conversation, Brad, what is this about here with Mike Maddox? You know the situation. What's he trying to do?
Yeah, well, I think first of all, you're going to try to slow him down a little bit. We saw 3 pitches in a row, although that last one that walked Joey Votto, not too bad, of him just getting around the sinker as opposed to on top of it. So Mike Maddox does a very good job of calming his pitchers down, just getting them to focus again. And Jordan Hicks has been in this situation before. We all know how talented he is. Just got to focus down. The key here in a situation like this, don't try to do too much. Your stuff plays. Just make sure it plays down in the zone.
The base is loaded for Suarez. They're all loaded up for Cincinnati. Good speed there in Hamilton, representing the tying run. And big numbers in this spot. 2 outs, bases loaded. Strike 1 on Suarez. 1-0-2 on the gun. Report that the Brewers not only have acquired Gio Gonzalez, but also Curtis Granderson. More on the post-game show. No balls and a strike. Inside 1-1.
Now we've seen a lot of fastballs here out of Jordan Hicks. We know the slider when he gets on top of it is a good one. But if you're competing right here, you want to go with your best.
A little bit low. 2 balls, 1 strike. The 2-1 pitch to Suarez. Check swing. He went, and it's 2-2.
It's hard to hold up on something like that. You know you have to get started early on Jordan Hicks' fastball. By the time you realize that thing's boring in on you, it's too late. You've already gone.
The 2-2. And the runner's off with his pitch. Missed inside, 3-2. Leone is ready if need be. Hicks trying to send us to the bottom of the 8th with a 2-run lead. A dangerous man at the plate. 3-2 pitch. Ground ball. This should do it. Hicks gets it. 7-5 as we head to the home half of the 8th. Loaded, and it's 7-5 in favor of the Cardinals. Jackson Stevens, 21st appearance, or Chevy called to the pen. Patrick Wisdom will be the batter. Some anxious moments. Those bases loaded, but the Cardinals get out of it. And the first pitch to Wisdom. Take it for a ball, and we're underway in the home half of the 8th. 3 runs in the top half to cut the lead at 2. And it's a ball and a strike.
You know, we've been talking all night about watching the scoreboard, seeing what other contenders are doing, the wild card race, the race for the division, and you realize, you know, exactly what the Cardinals are playing for. For the Reds, they're playing to ruin that for everybody else. I mean, they're playing these games as tough as you possibly can. I mean, at this point, you're trying to knock off others, and they would love to be a part of knocking off a Cardinals team.
Spoiler,
for sure.
In your division, a team that has had your number for the better part the last few seasons. Fouled back by Wisdom. And it's 2-2. The Reds will have Jeanette, Irvin, Shebler coming up. Bud Norris throwing in the Cardinals' pen. And that's hit down the right field line, slicing, and it's gone! It's a home run! A line shot to the opposite field. Patrick Wisdom, some insurance for St. Louis.
Well, you got to love seeing this. Sees one up in the zone, drives it the other way. Line drive just stays fair. Patrick Wisdom, so used to playing every day, also comes in as a part of a double switch. Gets his first at bat and does that. That's big time right there.
Carpenter dropping down the bunt, just like I talked about in his previous at bat. Picks up the base hit.
Well, it was a 5-run deficit last time. This game just got a little bit tighter, and the game will dictate when you're going to drop it down, when you want to make something happen, put pressure on the other team. And Matt Carpenter decided now is the time. You get Yadier Molina up to bat, who has been a Reds killer over the years, especially this year. The numbers have been fantastic. And this game has been about momentum so far. The Reds grabbed it early on. The Cardinals took it back. The Reds just got some this past inning. The Cardinals trying to take some of that back.
And here's Yadier Molina. This is where sometimes we've seen, albeit brief sample size, but where Mike Schilt kind of feels it and you get aggressive. So maybe a hit and run here with Molina, even though the combination is he and Carpenter.
Well, you've got your guy that handles the bat better than almost anybody.
And he bunts it to first. Votto out there, and they get the lead man. Things like that, though, trying to create offense, be proactive, keep the other team on the edge.
Well, sometimes you got to try to make some things happen, and Yadi tries to take one that way, just ends up getting more towards Votto than he wanted to. He's trying to go more towards the hole there.
Jose Martinez. 2 singles, a run scored, and 2 walks. There's a breaking ball, and that said, hit me.
Maybe you should throw it again.
Here's a 0-1 pitch to Martinez. Little bit inside, 1-1.
Well, the hope is they're not done yet, but with that Patrick Wisdom home run, you got to love the way this ball club continues to respond. Something happens, something goes against them. The other team scores some runs, they battle right back.
And the 1-1. And how about the league leader in home runs sensing that and then dropping down a bunt?
Got them on their heels, keep them there.
Yep.
Yachty trying to do a little of the same.
The 2-1 pitch to Martinez. Inside. 3-1. Just watching this pitcher, Stevens, and you got to wonder if he's got anything to put a guy like Jose Martinez away. Jose, one of the top hitters, he's locked in and ahead in the count, 3-1. And that's ball 4, so runners at first and second. Third walk, and he's on base for the 5th time. And our Budweiser plays of the game.
Austin Gomber helping himself out, gets that one, drives in a couple. And then right afterwards, Matt Carpenter, 2-run home run, his 35th of the season, league-leading 35th. And the Cardinals grab that momentum right back early on in this ball game.
Greg Garcia will pinch hit. So runners at first and second. Stevens. This is his inning. No one getting loose in the Reds bullpen. Bud Norris continues to throw, the closer for St. Louis in the Cardinals pen. Third game this season. Martinez has reached base safely 5 times. And 2 out of the 3 have been against the Reds. Yachty, a runner at second base. Martinez at first. And the first pitch to Garcia. Back to Stevens. He'll go to first. Looked like he may have struggled to get it out of the glove.
Yeah, he knew where he wanted to go, but lost the handles on that one. Had time to get him if, in fact, he did get it out.
And you have Tyler O'Neill with DeYoung on deck. First base open. This would be big. You get a base hit here. Cardinals out hit in the ballgame 13-12, but lead by 3 runs. O'Neill with a double back in the 5th to right center. A big gap in left center. One of the things we saw with Martinez when he was up was a hanging breaking ball, and a lot of teams are approaching O'Neill with a cutter, slider, curveball, anything off speed. You hang one, he can launch it.
It's a good approach if you execute it.
Right.
If you're able to get that thing down and away. But we've seen him put a hurting on a few that have hung up there.
And the 0-1.
That's trouble. Get another one right there.
The 1-1 pitch to Tyler O'Neill. There's that curveball I'm talking about. 76 mile an hour.
It's a little bit early on that one right there. He's seen it a couple times now, though, and you know that Stevens is likely to go to it again. It's his out pitch.
Would he hang one here? And the 1-2. Curveball again.
Well, you see Tucker Barnhart wants that thing down and away, just looping in. Middle of the plate, missed again.
On the air tomorrow, 5:30. Ponce de Leon against Castillo. Runners at second and third. And the outfield is deep. Then you think about maybe sneaking a fastball by him, and he's ready for it. We'll see. The 1-2 pitch. Outside, 2-2. Two and two the count on Tyler O'Neill. There's that curveball again, lays off. You could say the same thing with DeYoung. A lot of teams busting him in, then going away with a breaking pitch. You hang it. Either one of these guys could do some damage.
Certainly. And I know you have the base open here, but I don't think you really want to get to a position where you're facing DeYoung. Now you're probably going to go with the breaking ball again, try to throw one away, make him hit it.
Curveball, and he pulled it foul.
He's had a few of those just hanging up there.
I mean, that's his curveball. Some guys, it's by effect to throw it that slowly in a big loop. Flipping it up there.
And as a hitter, you generally only get so many of those. You got to be able to take advantage of one of these mistakes. Hopefully Stevens has one more in the tank so O'Neill can put a hurting on it.
Big gap in left center. The 8th pitch to O'Neill in this plate appearance. And he walked him. Good at bat. And the base is loaded. So again, it's basically the same thing. I mean, DeYoung is seeing it with Martinez, O'Neill. A curveball that, in all reality, you stay back on, you could do some damage.
Yeah, and he has shown a couple of good ones. Stevens hasn't proven, though, that he can repeat that pitch. So if you're able to, if you see a good one, maybe the next one will be that hanger. And he hasn't really spotted up his fastball either.
DeYoung with a 3-run homer earlier tonight. That was in inning number 3. Bases loaded. Ooh, and right on that pitch, fouled it back. Outfield straight away. It's about as straight up a defensive alignment you're going to get in this day and age of baseball, both on the infield and outfield. Here's the 0-1. DeYoung with a little flare into shallow right. That ball is down. One run is in. Here comes Martinez. He will score, and Paul DeYoung is driven in 5 tonight.
Well, we've seen a couple of the breaking balls. Here's a fastball. Inner half, goes the other way with it. Just gets the hands in, trying to make something happen, and he certainly does. Drives in 2 more. 2 big runs right here.
Season high, 5 runs batted in for Paul DeYoung. And now Bader. Runners at the corners, 10-5. Fastball misses in.
Bud Norris sits down in the bullpen. Dominic Leone back up.
So season high and a career high for Paul DeYoung. Bader with those curveballs either knocks him out of the park or right back up the box. It's a fastball, 1 ball and 1 strike. Really done a nice job in the last, I'd say, 4 to 6 weeks with the adjustment middle outer half pitches going to right. There's a lot of room on the right side of the infield. The 1-1. It's a curveball taken high. So the Cardinals have answered with 3 here in the bottom of the 8th, and it's back to a 5-run deficit. The 2-1 pitch to Bader on its way, and he's hit by the pitch, got him on the hand. And again, the bases are loaded for Jairo Munoz. Medical staff does not check on Bader. Everything seems to be okay. Looked like it got his throwing hand, his right hand. Sure did.
You see Stevens just trying to get in there with the fastball. If he's going to be effective at all with the breaking ball, he needs to be able to get in there, but gets it way too far. Finds himself in trouble yet again.
Here's Jairo Munoz with the bases loaded, still 2 down, 13 hits aside. And the first pitch to him. Ball 1.
Still got no one going in the Reds bullpen either. Looked like they Homer Bailey early in the game, let him work out of some things. Seems to be the same thing here for Stevens.
All started with Patrick Wisdom. His home run hit down the right field line. And he did go. A ball and a strike on Munoz. Watching Bader talk to Joey Votto, and he's kind of showing some of the movements that he's had at the plate. Imagine that lesson you might get.
Take advantage.
Oh boy. Joey Votto doesn't miss much with guys at the plate. Here's a 1-1. 2 balls and a strike. So you have a curveball right now that Stevens is having trouble locating, and then a fastball that's not overpowering. It's right around 90-91. Chance to do some damage here. 15 balls, 15 strikes in the inning. And the 2-1 pitch. 3-1. A count of 3 balls, 1 strike with the bases loaded. Fouled back. And a nice play made by a fan. 3-2 the count on Munoz. Wisdom started the inning, and he's at the on deck circle. The 3-2 pitch. Munoz, base hit into right center. That may clear him. 2 runs in. Bader held up at third. And Jairo Munoz makes it 12-5.
Well, Munoz in this at bat saw a little bit of everything, then sees a fastball right down the middle and does not miss it. Crushes this thing, drives in a couple more runs, and the Cardinals, after giving up 3 in the top half of the inning, have responded big time. This team just punches back.
And the Reds will go with a position player. Rosters will expand after tonight, but a position player to get through this ball game, and Patrick Wisdom is coming up when we come back. First pitch to Patrick Wisdom, fired in there by Dixon. 61 miles an hour.
Before you think about doing it, don't do it. Don't.
Not saying a word.
Know what you're thinking.
1 ball and 1 strike. This is Dixon's second pitching appearance of the year. Threw an inning against Cleveland back on the 13th of this month. Our Chevy called to the pen. 2 strikes on Wisdom, who started the inning with a home run to right.
A lot of late life on that one.
Good movement, sink. And Wisdom lifts it in the air. Out to deep right. And the catch is made. The Cardinals a 5-run bottom of the 8th. And a 12-5 St. Louis lead. July of 1968. They went 24-6. A win tonight. See the Cardinals finish the month of August 22-6. And in 1968, Dominic Leone, our Chevy called to the pen. Bob Gibson went 6-0 with a .50 ERA. Lou Brock 16 steals and batted .349. So Dominic Leone into the ball game. 12-5 our score, and we're in the 9th inning, and the first pitch is a strike. The Hyundai pitch arsenal.
Well, I'll tell you what, his slider is very good. It's tight. It bores in on lefties. Get a lot of swing and misses from the righties. His curveball is very good as well. And we already know how the back end of this bullpen 8-9 looks. It looks like Jordan Hicks in the 8th inning. It looks like Bud Norris in the 9th. But you've got a lot of good options down there when you're talking about your bridge to get to those guys. Dominic Leone could definitely insert himself right in that mix. Carlos Martinez certainly in that now. We saw him pitch back-to-back days. And by all accounts, Michael Wacha could be a part of something like that. You hear the news that it's going to be tough to get him stretched down. Now, who knows? It might end up happening as a starter. But if Michael Wacha's in your pen down the stretch, I think that's a pretty darn good thing, too.
Mm-hmm. A ball and 2 strikes on Scooter Gennett. Get out of play. There's a look at the defensive alignment of the Cardinals and the changes with Pena behind the plate, Garcia at second, Munoz in right, and the new pitcher Dominic Leone. What a turnaround under Mike Schilt. 22-6 potentially in this month of August. Still 3 outs to go. Phillip Ervin at the plate. Leadoff base hit. And that's hit out to left. Catch made by Tyler O'Neill. And Jeanette back to the bag at first base. 1 down. Here's Scott Schebler. Some intrigue for the Reds. He has a single, a double, and a 2-run homer. Triple away from the cycle. And a 2-run homer off of Brett Cecil. Picked up base hit. And the double against Austin Gomber. So a triple away from the cycle.
Scott Schebler, just another one of those young, talented players that the Reds are rolling out there. Once again, the pitching is hopefully for them, they have more in the pipeline. They've got to get that stuff figured out. But the offense has been there.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. And he did go. 1 ball and 1 strike. Just thinking about a triple here at this ballpark, which we see our fair share. It's a big outfield. But guys like Bader and Munoz and O'Neill can really run. So it'd have to take kind of one of those funky hops or get stuck in a wall.
You're going to have to get the right carom here.
Yeah.
And I would think your best bet would be right field. Munoz not as used to being out there as the other guys.
Hit it down the right field line, and it sticks on that wall and doesn't carom back to him. Keeps looking back behind him, not at the scoreboard, I believe, but at the bullpen. Guys are giving him an earful. 2-1 pitch. Ground ball. Fair. Leone to the bag for the out.
Sometimes out in the bullpen, you feel a little isolated. You want to be able to talk to everybody else.
Well, you get to talk to your buddies out there.
That's true. Sometimes you just want to yap at the right fielder, you know?
I get it.
Yeah. Trying to branch out a little bit. Get to hang out with those guys for 9 innings. You don't get to see Jairo that much.
Here's Tucker Barnhart. And strike 1. The 0-1. Into center. Bader racing in. Makes the catch. 22 wins in the month of August as the Cardinals fell behind early and win it 12-5 and take game 1 of the series. 76-59.
This team just keeps on fighting. Incredible performance today by Austin Gomber. Gave up a couple early on in this game and then got through 7 innings and helped himself with the bat. This offense came alive, and these Cardinals are rolling.
They pick up a game on the Cubs. 3.5 back in the Central. Let's welcome in September tomorrow.